some sort of a sports show? What the hell's going on here? And what time is it?
It's Halloween time!
Happy Halloween, audience. How you doing? There's a lot going on. Hope you're having a nice day with your kids, with your family, with your neighbors. And if you're listening on fistfulobradio.com, I'm Chance Bartels, and I hope you had a nice Halloween. Got a lot to cover, and we're going to have some special guests and some special treats today. But before I get started, I must explain why I was playing the Tomahawk Chop. It's because the Atlanta Braves, you can't stop the chop. I coined that phrase. I rather like that. They have won the World Series. Now I'm going out on a real limb here because I'm projecting because actually it's Halloween day before Game 5 at Truist Park, so I pray I didn't jinx anything. But let's pretend those listening at fistfulobradio.com overnight, Monday night at 7 o'clock, or whenever, or on demand on YouTube, that the Braves did it! You could not stop the chop. Now, of course, this isn't a sports show. It's a nostalgia show. But as I said last week, for me, it is nostalgic because 30 years ago, the Braves had the worst to first team. And them being in the World Series and winning it for the first time since 1995 is something pretty special. In fact, a friend of ours said it best. And you know this voice. And he's excited about the World Series.
World Series!
That's right. Say it again, Ralph.
This is the World Series!
That's Ralph Cramden from a live skit.
You are going to my sister Sally's wedding, or I will know the reason why.
You
Listen.
already know the reason why. I got 2 tickets to the World Series games. That's why.
Now you listen to me. My sister Sally's wedding is a lot more important than any World Series game.
That's your version of it. The World Series is more important to me than anything in this whole world.
Yeah.
All my life, I wanted to go to a World Series game.
Right.
The World Series! When I was a kid, I wanted to go. I couldn't get the money to go. Then when I grew up, I had the money and I couldn't get my hands on any tickets. Well, now I got my hands on those tickets and I'm going to use the tickets. See, kiddo? I'm going to the ball game. I am going to see the ball game.
The only way you're going to see that game is if they got television in the hospital.
Well, what? You're going to put me in a hospital? You and who else?
Me and nobody else.
You and nobody else?
You heard me. Me and nobody else.
Don't frighten me. Don't frighten me. Duck! Don't ever do that again, Alice. Don't ever do that again. And just for that, not only am I not going to your sister's wedding Sunday, but I am not going to lend the groom my black silk socks.
You are going to that wedding, Ralph. You're going to the wedding. You are going to that wedding.
I'm going to the ball game.
You're going to the wedding.
I'm going to the ball game.
You're going to the ball game.
I'm going to the wedding.
Right.
I'm going to the ball game.
That was from live television from way back in 1954, actually. In the Jackie Gleason Show, Saturday night, October 2nd, 1954, in a live skit, obviously a honeymooner skit, titled Game Called an Account of Marriage. And as you heard, Alice wanted Ralph to go to her sister's wedding, and he has tickets finally. It's a bucket list thing to a World Series game. And that year, it was the New York Giants versus the Cleveland Indians, and it was a sweep, 4-0. Giants over the Indians. And so at the end of the sketch, Ralph convinces Alice's sister to elope and he shows up at her apartment building with a ladder and gets her and convinces her and her fiance to elope, and they fight at one point. He's like, oh, geez, I'll never get them married and get them out of my way so I can go to the game. So a cop comes up and thinks Ralph is burglarizing the place. And it turns out, he finds out to his dismay, he had tickets for Game 5, and he finds out from the cop, after he proves he's innocent and not a burglar, that it was a sweep, and it was all for naught. So I just love that. The World Series, Jackie Gleason. But how about the Atlanta Braves? In reality, last night was Game 4, and the Braves won, and they're one win away from winning it all. So I sort of in jest said they won it all, and I pray I didn't jinx it. Y'all will kill me. I'll be through if I somehow jinx it, but I don't think I'm going to. I mean, they have the fever. You can't stop the chop. I mean, you can't beat, like, how about second baseman Ozzie Albies and Jorge Soler making World Series history, the first home run at bat back in Game 1 of this 2021 World Series in Houston, and the first pinch hit home run in Game 4 of the World Series. Way to go, and I can't wait for Game 5. But we're talking about a lot of stuff today. Our friend Al Hardy's going to be here for Al's Movie Corner. He's going to review 3 current movies that he saw this past week that are in theaters now, including a scary movie, which is good for Halloween, which, wink, wink, just happened. But I do want to play a clip of a Braves player, then we'll move on past baseball and talk about pop culture stuff, even though for me this is pop culture. He's born and raised. He was raised in an Atlanta, Georgia suburb of Kennesaw, Georgia. And here's a little bit. He hit a key home run in Game 4. And I just want to play a brief interview with the shortstop Dansby Swanson, and I hope this is the right clip. I think it is. Yes.
You grew up here. You grew up a Braves fan. You came here in a big trade, and a lot of expectations were placed on you. Now you are one win away from the Braves winning their first World Series since 1995. What are your emotions right now?
Well, I'm just so thankful to be here. I really can't say it enough. Getting traded over here, at the time I didn't understand it, but God's always got a plan. And if I've learned one thing is having faith in that plan will never fail you. And it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Being here, being able to see my family as much as I do, watching my nephews grow up. If I didn't get traded here, I would never have met Mallory. I mean, you just start stacking things on top of each other. And it's truly a blessing to be here in this city. I love this city. I'm a diehard Falcons fan. I'm a diehard Hawks fan. And obviously, I'm a diehard Braves fan. It's just such a cool moment for this city. But we got one more. They got a great ball club over there, and we can't take anything for granted. We need to come out tomorrow and be ready to play our game. So,
Dansby, congratulations. Good luck. Joe, back to you.
He's only 27 years old, born on Friday, February 11th, 1994 in Kennesaw, Georgia. So congratulations. That was he was clutch and key in Game 4, a come-from-behind victory. And I'm really super excited. Now, talking a little bit more about this World Series before we get to the movies, some podcasters incorrectly said that the national anthem was not performed or shown on TV on Fox during Game 1 of the World Series. Well, it certainly was. Game 1, of course, was played in Houston, or as General Zod would say, Planet Houston in Superman 2. Keke Palmer sang the Star-Spangled Banner, and she was born Laura Kayana Keke Palmer, born Thursday, August 26th, 1993 in Harvey, Illinois. I work with her, and I'll get to that in a second, in a movie. Really closely, actually, in a scene. And Keke Palmer made her acting debut with a cameo role in the movie Barbershop 2, Back in Business, back in 2004. Now, I met and worked with Keke and Dana Owens, otherwise known as Queen Latifah, in the uplifting 2012 theatrical movie titled Joyful Noise, which starred none other than Dolly Parton. And I played one of her sons in a funeral scene. I'm right next to Dolly, right at the start of the movie. And Keke is behind me with Dana Owens, Queen Latifah, and she was very, very sweet that day. And very talented, and she sang that national anthem beautifully in Game 1. And then in Game 2, there was a soldier, and anyway, it's definitely been performed at every game of this 2021 World Series. And so anyway, in the scene in Joyful Noahs, I'm right next to Dolly, as I said, and my fictional father was played by Chris Christopherson. He's just passed away. It's a funeral scene. And the director, Todd Graff, thought I resembled Chris Christopherson, so he chose me out of a room of extras, a small group, because it's a small church, to be with Dolly right next to her in the funeral scene. And I had one line along with the other brothers, Amen. And so Keke Palmer was great performing the national anthem. I was proud to see her giving that honor, and it was a great thing. So let's see. This is the first time, as you heard, since 1995 that the Braves have won the World Series. I'm just going to call it right there. They did it. It's amazing. By the way, don't forget to pop through that Taco Bell drive-thru Thursday, November 4th for your free taco, thanks to Atlanta Braves second baseman Ozzie Albies stealing a base in Game 1 of that World Series that Keke sang the national anthem in. Now, Taco Bell, to me, tasted the best in the 1980s. You know, they were like piled high. It was like almost like a real sit-down Mexican restaurant. I'm not saying Taco Bell isn't good today, but I just remember, if you look at the old ads, look up Taco Bell 1980s commercials on YouTube. And again, they augment as they do to this day, like McDonald's ads and Burger King and all that fast food junk. They make it look better than it is, and that probably was the case then. But I remember, because I'm old, that Taco Bell was better and the meat tasted better back then. But for all of those tacos that Taco Bell's going to have ready, and they stretch it out to November 4th because they want you to forget. By the way, November 4th, to me, TV Geek, is significant because, and we'll talk about it next week, that's the 40th anniversary of the debut of The Fall Guy, starring Lee Majors. By the way, if you're watching live on YouTube or in the Nostalgic Podblast Facebook group titled The Nostalgic Podblast, you'll see a jack-o'-lantern that's lit on top of some of my comic book boxes. So if you see a fire break out, please call in or comment. The phone line is 770-438-1050. Al Hardy will be calling in just a minute, or I'll call him. But getting back to Taco Bell, man, you know, they didn't do it the next day because they want you to forget. So don't forget to get your free taco. And in fact, I think they're going to have to really break out the extra ingredients to make all those tacos.
Listen to me, Hatcher. You gotta tell them Silent Breed is people!
No!
Stop 'em somehow!
They're going to have to serve human flesh to feed the masses. I'm kidding. I don't want to get sued by Taco Bell. They're a fine, fine establishment, and I'm excited about it. Now, I do have a slight rant about the World Series, and then I'll give Al Hardy a buzz. All right, after Game 3 of the World Series, the first one played at Truist Park ever, first World Series game ever played, and the first one of the series. Well, at midnight, Friday night into Saturday, the stupid EMS, which is the Emergency Broadcasting System, they knocked out every single channel on my Xfinity. And it does that whenever and it's a required weekly test. Look, I'm not against the EMS, but do they really need to test it every week? What it did was, right in the middle of the post-game celebrations, when the Braves had won, everything goes dark and it says, "This is a weekly required test of the Emergency Broadcasting System." Why don't they do that monthly? Why does it have to be every single week? Like I said, it knocks out every gosh darn channel, as well as stuff you're recording. So if you're recording a movie, you're not going to record. They don't have the technology to record what gets knocked offline by the EMS. So who programmed that? I mean, wouldn't you do that at 4 in the morning? If you must do it weekly, if that's like a government mandate by the FCC, why don't they do that at 4 in the morning? Okay, why do it? God, they know the World Series is going to be going on, whether the Braves are in it or not. And I don't know if that affected other services like AT&T, Uverse, or DirecTV. I know I have Xfinity, and it knocked out every channel, and I lost the feed, and I lost key moments right after that victory. It pissed me off. So that's the end of my little rant. I don't know why they have to do it. Make it monthly. Chance hath spoken. And it's really good to see people having fun at the ballpark. I mean, let's face it. I'm not a doctor. COVID's over, folks. It's over. I hope your Halloween 2021 was fun. again, for fistfulofradio.com. This airs Monday night at 7, the day after I do this live. So I got to pretend like it's all over. Halloween's over. But later we'll have some candy taglines for you in our tagline game portion of the Podblast. And last time we had candy bar taglines like chocolate candy, and this time it's candy other than chocolate and gum. So now it's time for Al's Movie Corner. I'm going to give him a buzz, and hopefully he'll answer. And he's going to review 3 big movies that are in theaters now. Oh, geez, I hope I had his number. I had his number sitting out. Figures while I'm live, I effed up. Let me see. No, I got it right here in my phone. I should have it memorized, but let me give him a buzz for Al's Movie Corner. Let's see here. Yes, here it is. He's going to be piped in through his board at his home studio, so it's going to sound really good. Plus, we have another special guest today. James Tim Walker's calling in with a very special announcement later in the show. But first things first, we're going to talk movies. While I get him on the line, I should have thought about doing this sooner. I'm going to play a trailer for one of the movies that he's going to review, and I think he liked this movie a lot. Let's listen. Let's listen to this trailer for Dune. I'm having all sorts of problems today. Here it is. God darn it. Happy Halloween. Sounds like Halloween.
Happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
Hey now, Raymond, I have a rabbit. Rabbit season.
It's simple. Remove your hand from the
Very
box,
funny.
and you die.
But I'm glad you're out there.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
I got drum beat.
He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
Kill them. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
Hey, hang on. Stand by.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Al, hey, Al Hardy's on the line for Al's Movie Corner. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. A little windy outside today and cooler, but I'm doing okay.
Well, I understand that you saw 3 movies this past week. That's a lot of movie watching, my friend. Explain why. Don't you have like a monthly plan with AMC movie theaters or something?
I have a weekly plan. Well, it's monthly. I pay for it monthly, but I have a plan where I can see 3 movies a week for one price every month. That's like $20, so I get my money's worth.
Well, cool. I was just playing the trailer for Dune, so do you mind if we start with what you thought about Dune? I know you liked it. You told me offline.
Oh, I did like the movie, and I have to tell you,
yours and liked it. And I said, well, I got to go see this movie. And I really enjoyed it. It's a terrific movie. Of course, it's a adaptation of the book by Frank Hubert, his science fiction novel. Have you ever read the book, Soon?
No, I never did.
Well, I didn't either. Did you see the first one?
Yes, I did. And as you say, I didn't care for it.
Well, I like this movie a lot. Can you hear me okay? Okay. All right. It was a little delay there. But anyway, it's a terrific movie. It's beautifully photographed. It's got music by Hans Zimmer, who I like. And a note about Hans Zimmer, he's a big fan of the novel of Dune. And he turned down to work with Christopher Nolan on Tenet because he wanted to score the music for Dune. So he turned down Tenet and worked with the director of Dune. And
wow.
He did a great job with it. Now, Dune is not a simple movie, and it's hard to translate unless you read the book, and I didn't read the book. But I'll have to tell you, it's a little slow in the beginning, but it lays down the foundation of what the movie is all about. And the movie has no sex or nudity, there's no profanity, there's no intense scenes, there's some moderate scenes in it. I guess it's pretty intense. But it opens up, it says, dreams are messages from the deep. And then it tells the story. It was filmed in Jordan, Norway, and Budapest. It's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes, and directed by Dennis Villeneuve, I believe his name is. He also directed Blade Runner. Did you like Blade Runner?
Yes.
I didn't care for Blade Runner too much. Now, like I told you,
That's a classic.
Dune is not a simple movie, and the lead actor in it is Timothy Chalamet, I believe his name is. And he's fairly a newcomer. He's made a Woody Allen movie and a few other movies he's been in, and he's terrific in it. And he's in the movie the whole time, from beginning to end. And it's got some great supporting actors. Josh Brolin is in it, who I like. Of course, the son of James Brolin, and Oscar Isaac's in it. But the movie's got, terrific visuals, and the premise of the movie is the Duke, who's played by Oscar Isaac, he's sent by the Empire to take control of the spice operations on the planet Arrakis. And Arrakis it's got the spice there. It's considered one of the rarest commodities in the universe. It's a symbol of wealth and status. And he's sent there to take over Arrakis. But the people that inhabit Arrakis they're just very mean and evil, and they do not want to give up the spice on Arrakis. And so that's what the premise of the whole movie is about. And it's visually, I want to say, stunning to look at. It was shot in widescreen, and it's got a great soundtrack on it. And even if you've never read the book, you'll understand the movie because it lays the foundation, and there will be a sequel to it. I feel pretty sure. And it's got some intense scenes, but not too bad. It was filmed in the U.S. and Mexico and Canada. No, I take that back. I just told you it was filmed. It was filmed in Norway, Budapest, and Jordan. And if you want to see a terrific movie and great filmmaking, go see Dune. I really, really enjoyed it.
Well, very cool. I will check it out, I guess. I did hear it's on the slow side from people that I trust, but I trust your opinion over most of theirs, so I'll just have to judge for myself.
Well, everybody has a different opinion about movies, and that's fine, but I like movies that tell a good story, and this is a great story. I guess you hear Sonny in the back, but it's a great story, and you need to, if you've got 2 hours and 35 minutes, you'll have a good time if you go to the movies, but see it on the big screen. Don't watch it on television. It's just a big waste to see it on television.
Well, why do they stream it, man? It's on, what, HBO Max? Why did they not wait until it's been in the theater? That's a big screen movie. What the F?
Well, I don't understand why they do that, but most film companies now, what they're going to do, they're going to wait 45 days, and then the movie will stream after it hits the theaters. But this deal was already struck, I guess, before COVID kind of got completely out of here. So, but more people have gone to see it at the theater than screened it on television anyway.
How long is the movie?
2 hours and 35 minutes.
Okay.
But it flows. It's really good. And get the day that I went to see the movie, I went to an afternoon show like on a Tuesday, and I was the only person in the theater. I had the whole theater to myself, and it was great. I sat right in the middle, and it's like my own private screening of Dune.
Did you see it at that Web Gin cinema with that massive screen?
No, I saw it actually at another AMC theater that's closer to me. It's an older theater that's called AMC Classic, and it doesn't do the business that other theaters do, of course, and so I saw it there, and it's closer, and they got a huge screen there. I like it. It's not as big as the big D they have, but it's a wonderful movie.
All right. Because, I'm in the minority. I think Peter Jackson movies are very dull. Would you say does it flow at a better pace than a Lord of the Rings movie, which does have action, but you have to wait for it in those movies?
I like Lord of the Rings. I mean, you don't have to go to a movie and see, action take place in the first 10 minutes of the movie. You don't have to see that to enjoy a movie. I like Lord of the Rings.
I would agree with that. I think that's right.
I mean, it's not a shoot 'em up, bang 'em up movie. It's great storytelling, and it's just I feel that way about movies. You don't have to see cars crashing and it's like the Fast and Furious movies. I think are ridiculous, but sometimes they can be kind of fun to watch. But then again, you want to watch a movie. The movie, it's like it's for adults. It's just really a great storytelling, and people are flocking to the theater to see it. It's doing real well.
Well, what's next on your list? Can we talk about Venom too?
Yeah. Before we let Dune go, it cost $165 million to make. You see it on that screen, but it'll make its money back. It's already made, I think, $141 million. So it'll make its money back. Go see Dune.
Al Hardy has spoken. See Dune.
All right. You want to speak about Venom?
Yeah, I'm holding up for the camera the first appearance of Venom from way back in February 1988. It has a May cover date, and that book is red hot with comic collectors and buyers and sellers.
Well, I saw the first Venom movie on television one day last week, and I said, I liked it because I like Tom Hardy. I think he's a pretty good actor. And so I went to the theater to see Let There Be Carnage and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's just a fun movie. The story revolves around Eddie Brock, his attempt to reignite his career by interviewing Cletus Cassidy, who's played by Woody Harrelson. And Woody Harrelson, he can play a really funny guy. He can play a really mean guy. I loved him in Zombieland, but he's really nasty in Venom. And Tom Hardy is really good. But the movie its main focus of the movie is on the relationship between Venom and Tom Hardy's character. But what he does, he interviews Woody Harrelson's character, Cletus Cassidy, and anyway, he escapes from prison. And before he escaped, he bit Tom Hardy. And so then he got that Venom blood in him, and then he had this evil character come out of him as well. And so the
Carnage.
Yes. Yeah, Carnage. It boils down to those two, and it's got some great visual effects. It's really amazing at it. It's not a long movie. It's just an hour and 30 minutes, but it's really a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed Venom, Let There Be Carnage. And get this. Usually when I go to the movies, I do a Facebook post, right? A check-in.
Right.
And I typed in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and used the AMC website. Well, Facebook came back and says that goes against our community standards. The word carnage was in there, and they wouldn't let me post it.
Are you serious?
Can you believe that?
No, I can't. I mean,
but it's the AMC website. I didn't type it in there. I just typed in it, and it brought up the movie. And I put it in there, and they said it didn't meet their community standards.
that's the problem with bots, with robots, because they can't differentiate between a character and a threat.
No, they can't. No. Did you see the first Venom?
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't really. Oh, by the way, I had it spoiled. I think you spoiled it. There's a key cameo in Venom 2 with a big time actor in the end, during the end credits, right? Don't spoil it, but there's a big cameo.
Well, characters, like your comic book. And so, people, when the credits start rolling, they get up and leave, and they did. There was quite a few people in the theater the day I saw it. But it's got a great cameo at the end. It's terrific, where Tom Hardy is lying in bed. And, the Venom character is talking to him, and they're watching this show on television. And the Venom character says, "Oh, I just love that show." And they show the screen, and it's the new Spider-Man movie.
With Tom Holland as
Tom
Spider-Man.
Holland,
You see, Sony owns the character of Spider-Man. They just lease it to Disney.
Oh, okay.
What?
Right. Well, I thought it was so cool. It was really cool, and then the movie ends, but it's really kind of cool. But the Venom character, he's talking to Tom Hardy. Of course, they talk back and forth, and he says, "I just love that movie,"
And they like, both Venom and Carnage like to eat human flesh. They like to eat human beings.
Right. And and Woody Harrelson's a terrific actor. I really like him a lot. He's really good. I saw Zombieland Double Tap the other day, which filmed in Atlanta, and that's a fun movie. I saw the first one too.
Yeah.
I bought the Blu-ray of Zombieland, and Woody Harrelson's really funny.
I like the People versus Larry Flint that he did back many years ago. I think in the late 90s as Larry Flint. And Larry Flint, he's gone now, but in Birthdays, I'm going to talk a little bit about him later in the show. But that's cool. So, hey, that's 2 for 2 that you like. That's how many, in terms of the first one, getting back to Dune, on 5 stars with, on a scale of, 0 stars to 5 stars, with 5 stars being the best, what would you rank Dune?
I give it 5 stars.
A full, a friggin' royal flush?
In fact, I will probably go see it again. It's really good. I really like it.
All right. Well, what do you rate Venom 2?
Venom 2 is maybe, 3 out of 5 stars. But I enjoyed it. It's fun, and like I said, the visual effects in it are terrific. CGI, they do wonderful work. I really liked it.
Well, good.
I went to that movie. Did I have anything to do? I said, well, I'm probably not going to like this anyway, because I don't like, that kind of stuff. But I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did you mention that Tom Hardy is the star?
Yes, Tom
Okay.
Hardy is the star. But he spells his Hardy with Hardy. My Hardy is 2 E's.
Yeah. You're like the hamburger joint, like Carl's Jr.
So we're not related.
All right.
All right. Well, I did see one more movie, and then I'll let you go. I saw Antlers. I saw that a couple of days ago.
I never even heard of it.
Antlers was released by Fox Searchlight Pictures, which now is Searchlight Pictures, but it's mainly an art house film. It's the kind of movie that probably will not get a wide release, and sadly, a lot of people probably won't see it unless it comes on cable or TV. But it's a terrific movie, and stars Kerry Russell. She was in Dawn of the Planet, and also she was in Mission Impossible. A couple of those movies, and she's the lead actress in it. And Jesse Plemons is in it. He's in Antlers. Now, did you see Jungle Cruise?
No, I still haven't seen that yet. I know you like that as well.
But Jesse Plemons plays in Jungle Cruise. He's the little Nazi in it. He's really funny. But he's in Antlers. He was also in Vice, the movie that came out about Dick Cheney some years ago. Remember that?
Yes.
He was in that. But the star of the movie Antlers is a kid named Jeremy T. Thomas. He's the kid in the movie. He's a fairly newcomer, but he was in the movie. He was in the series Lore. You ever seen any of those shows on Prime? Most of them filmed here in Atlanta. He was in those. It's directed by Scott Cooper, who's also an actor. He directed Crazy Heart, Out of the Furnace with Christian Bale, but he directed this movie, and it's a very creepy horror movie, and it centers on a young boy played by Jeremy Thomas, and it's based on a short story, The Quiet Boy. Okay. And so it's what it is in the small Oregon town. This teacher becomes involved with the character played by Jeremy. But he's got a troubled past. He's real quiet. He doesn't talk to people or anything like that. And so, but he goes home, and nobody knows. His mother had died years ago. But what happened was his dad got infected by this creature that was it's a legendary creature that was there before they came. They were discovering this. They're going going through this mine, cleaning out this mine, and this creature was hiding in this mine, and he attacks Jeremy's dad, and so what happens later on, he becomes one of those creatures, and the father says, he goes upstairs and he locks himself in this room and he tells his son, do not let me out under any circumstances, just let me stay in no matter what you hear or say, let me out. And so it basically turns into this flesh-eating creature. And the boy goes out at night finding food for his dad. And so he'll get, animals, and he'll go to the market and buy meat and all this other stuff and just throw it into the room. And the kid, that's how he feeds his father, but he's this creature. And so what happens was, one of the ladies at the school thinks the kid's being abused, so she goes to the house. And she hears this strange noise coming from this room. And so she says, she thought it was Frank, the kid's dad. His name was Frank in the movie. But nobody answered, so she just heard this noise. And so she opens up the locks and opens the door, and she walks in. And there's blood everywhere. It smells like death in the house. And there's another little boy in there who was his little brother. But his brother was in there with his dad, but his dad left him alone. But anyway, the dad attacked this woman and killed her and started eating her. It's got some very intense scenes in it. But the creature escapes and wreaks havoc on this Oregon town. And that's what the movie's about. They try to track down what is killing everybody. They don't know what it is. They think it's an animal. Damn. They finally find out that it's this legendary creature that has lived way before they did. And Jesse Plemons, who is he plays in it, like I told you, he's the sheriff. And so, and the lady that's in it, played by Kerry Russell, that's his sister. They live together. And so she ends up going to find this creature in the woods. And so I won't tell you how it ends, but you remember the movie Aliens, where she kills the beast? She takes on the
Right.
beast. It's kind of like this. She takes on this beast, and it's terrific. I won't tell you how it ends because you'll like it. It's a wonderful movie, but it's violent. It's got some very intense scenes, but it's very entertaining. It's a very moody movie. And it's rated R for violence and gruesome images, and it's got some pretty bad language in it too. But it's a terrific movie. I liked it a lot.
I'm going to play some audio of it in a moment, and as well as Venom 2, just a little bit.
But the movie has no sex or nudity. It's got moderate profanity.
Oh, that sucks. There's no sex?
No sex. No drugs or alcohol.
What kind of horror movie doesn't have sex?
And no smoking.
Oh man, in the 80s, that was a staple of the slasher movie.
The reason the movie's called Antlers, because what happens is this creature, these antlers like a deer come out from his body, and all these antlers are like arms on his body, and he attacks his victims with these antlers, and he stabs them with these antlers, then he pulls them up and he eats them. And that's why it's called Antlers, because it's they come out and just grab their victims. It's really pretty gruesome. And what's good about it, you don't see the monster until halfway through the movie. All you do is hear him. You don't see him at all. And then finally when you see him, it's pretty intense.
Wow. That's
and
pretty
it's a very
cool.
moody movie. It's beautifully photographed. And I highly recommend it. Antlers. It'll be gone very soon because it's probably not going to do a lot of money, but it's released by Fox Searchlight Pictures, which is now just Searchlight. Now, Searchlight Pictures is the boutique division of Fox. They were the company that released art house product and smaller movies, and not big blockbuster movies. Searchlight was their little boutique division.
I see.
And it's just like Fine Line Features was the boutique division of New Line Cinema. They call it Fine Line. And they released art house product and that sort of stuff. But
I'm glad you had a good time watching those movies. Did you just go by yourself to all three, or did you have any company?
I did them by myself. I really prefer watching movies by myself. I can enjoy them. I don't have any conversation with anybody. I can sit there and engross myself in the movie.
There's no one sitting next to you on their phone, like me, for instance, constantly distracting you.
No. Not like Chance Bartels. He picks up his phone and he's texting while the movie's going on.
Pigging out on popcorn, smacking my mouth, talking,
Well,
acting the fool.
Yeah, but no, like I said, I love going to movies, it's a great escape for me. And like I said, I don't mind watching them by myself. In fact, I prefer watching them by myself.
Well, very cool. I really appreciate that report, man. And do you think you're going to get some trick-or-treaters at your house for Halloween?
I usually get a few. I've got candy here, so I'll have a few. How about you?
I do too. I seldom get anybody, but I am prepared. I got some right here. I got some Mr. Good bar, full bars, and Three Musketeers bars. Yeah, I'm prepared.
Well, I got a big box of Twizzlers. Do you
Oh,
like
yeah.
Twizzlers?
I'm not a big fan of licorice.
Well, these are the little ones. You know, the little packs. You know, not the big long ones you buy in the theater, but the little ones.
I like the cherry ones better than the licorice.
That's what I have is the cherry ones.
Yeah.
I like them too. So I've got a whole box of that stuff. So
I'm also going to play a clip of The Eternals. That's the next movie you and I are going to see together, and then we'll be back in your fabulous studio with your video software, and we're going to review The Eternals.
I think that comes out November 7th. I think
November 3rd, I thought.
November 3rd, okay.
You might be right. I think it's November. It's in my notes anyway.
Well, I'm looking forward to the new Batman movie coming out in February. It's called The Batman.
With Robert Pattinson, who
Yes.
most people will remember from the Twilight movies as Edward the Vampire.
He was also
So he got his big start.
with Willem Dafoe called The Lighthouse.
And we saw him in Dali. He played Salvador Dali.
Oh, yeah, Willem Dafoe is a great actor. I really enjoy his movies a lot. And I loved him in the first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's coming back in the new movie. Did you know that? As the Green Goblin.
No, he was great as the Green Goblin. He was great. I like Willem Dafoe. He's a good actor.
Yeah, neither one of us were right. It's November 5th. That's when The Eternals hits theaters.
No. But there's a few movies coming out this Christmas I want to see. The Kingsman I want to see. I saw the first one. The second one wasn't very good, but I like the first one. That's going to be coming out for Christmas, December 22nd, I do believe. So.
Well, cool. There's some people listening to us commenting. Jay Raymer, he says the sun is coming out, getting warm out here in the van down by the river. Raymond Bernal says, hey, Chance, happy Halloween to you. Jay Raymer said, duck season and rabbit season. I don't think he realizes I adopted a rabbit, so I don't hunt for rabbits. In fact, I'm going to grab that little bunny and hold him up for the or her for the camera. I think it's a girl. I don't know. I need to get her checked out.
Well, one thing good about antlers, it doesn't show the kid actually killed anything. It's the aftermath.
In terms of animals or humans, what are you talking about?
Well, but no, like he's walking home from school and there's a raccoon there, and he gets a big rock. He's going to kill this raccoon to take it home to feed his dad. But you never see him kill the raccoon. You just see him walking in the house holding it in his hand. But you know, you don't really see any of that. The only thing you see is the aftermath of him eating people. Now, there's one scene where he kills the woman from the school. He bites her hand off first, and she's screaming and hollering, and blood's going everywhere. Then he bites her in the neck, and then he completely eats her whole insides from the neck down, and all you see left is the carcass of the body.
Wow.
It's intense. It's intense. Yeah.
Remember that movie we saw that had Sebastian Stan in it, who plays Bucky in the Captain America and Avengers movies, called The Last Full Measure? I think it was Peter Fonda's last movie, based on a true story about the Vietnam veterans and how they want to be honored, right? And there's a terrible scene where shell-shocked, of all things, Peter Fonda's playing a Vietnam vet. We know in real life he was very much against the war, and he just snaps a little bunny rabbit's neck. I hated that, just because I have a soft spot for bunny rabbits, wild or domesticated.
They really don't harm animals in movies.
I know it's fake, but still, I guess I'm a softie.
It just looks pretty bad. But like I said,
It was a good movie, though. Aside from that moment, Last Full Measure. That's a good movie for Memorial Day or Veterans Day. Anyway, I digress.
Well, very good. Well, the Eternals, we'll go check it out.
Okay.
Like I said, you're the huge Marvel guy, you know, and I like them. I can enjoy them. I'm not into them like you are, but I can enjoy the movies.
And you mentioned, in the previous review that James Brolin's son, Josh Brolin's in it. Do you realize he played Thanos in the Marvel movies, the bad guy that got the glove and wiped out half the universe?
That's right. He was also in the movie.
He was CGI, but it was his voice.
Right. He was also in Shirako, which I liked. He was in those movies as well. There was two of those. But Josh Brolin is a good actor. He's better than James. I didn't care for his dad too much. You know, he's married to Barbara Streisand. He's dead. Married to Barbara. But Josh Brolin is good. He's good in Dune. He's in it halfway through the movie, but he kind of meets his demise.
She sure is talented. I must say, Streisand. I like that movie. Remember that old movie, The Main Event, with her and Ryan O'Neal? It's kind of a fluffy movie.
Well, I think one of my favorite movies that Streisand was in was What's Up, Doc, which is a funny movie directed by Peter Bogdanovich.
Well, that's cool. I replied to the wrong person. I replied to Raymond instead of Jay about the bunny. Anyway, it's hard to do all this by myself, man. I miss you. It's easy when I have some assistance. By myself, I make all sorts of mistakes doing this stuff live.
Well, it can be a handful. So, what did you think of the Braves last night?
Not literally. Because I don't play. I was thrilled. They came back from behind and won. And, Dansby Swanson, he saved the day. And it was a team effort. And then Mr. Jorge behind him, I always mispronounce his name. It's George, Jorge, who hit the home run, first swing of the bat, and made World Series history in Game 1. And then he came through last night. It was a team effort. And the pitching, it was really the relief pitching that saved the day because they didn't have any real starters. It's all the bullpen coming together as it's going to be tonight. So I was thrilled. To answer your question, I was delighted. And I'm happy that the Braves won it all. Wink, wink, because, this might air after the fact.
All they have to do is win one more.
That's right. Well, they already did. They already won.
I'm talking about tonight.
I don't think you catch my drift.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because this will air on Fistful of Radio after the fact.
After the fact.
But if I'm jinxing them, I'll never hear the end of it.
That is true.
But I don't think I am. I think this is their year, and they're going all the way. Only one more win. How could they not win? They're going to win. They did win.
Oh, I think they will. They will. All right, man. Well, listen, nice talking to you.
Okay, nice talking with you, and have a good rest of the day, brother.
And everybody go out and support the theaters. They need the support.
They do after that COVID crisis, absolutely. Okay, man. Have a good one.
Okay, see you.
Al Hardy, everybody. Let me get my headphones on. Got to get caught up on the Facebook comments. God, sorry about that feedback there. Oh, so I'm going to play a couple clips of the movies he just reviewed really briefly. Let's start with Venom. And let's see. Here's the trailer to Venom 2, starring Tom Hardy. Any day now.
I say either, you guys say either, I say neither, and I say neither, either.
That's the creatures possessing Tom Hardy's character talking. Venom! It's a parasite, an alien parasite that came down from space. And it's a leech.
Yummy.
Takes over his body.
Good evening, Eddie.
Hey, Mrs. Chen.
Good evening, Venom.
Eddie Brock, that's his character's
Mrs.
name.
Chen.
Played by
He says
Tom
hi.
Hardy.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
I've been thinking about you, Eddie.
Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number.
Because you and I are the same. Every decision we ever make.
Like that song, Three Dog Night cover there. Obviously.
Who do we leave behind? And how do we leave them? Waiting in the darkness for the rescuer who never comes. Welcome back, Eddie Brock. It's been a long time. Miss you so much. Soon come chaos. Chaos soon come.
Is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
2. And here is the trailer for Antlers.
Is storytelling. Storytelling started with our indigenous people. Can anyone give me an example of a myth or a story they're afraid of? Lucas. What's going on?
We found a part of a man in the woods today.
Part of the man?
I guess the other half was found in the mine. Oh, this has got to be an animal, right? No animal that I've ever seen.
Something is going on with Lucas. These drawings belong to a student of mine.
This is what was in the mine. It's a diabolical spirit.
Excuse me, this is a myth.
For you, yeah.
He's not your responsibility.
He has no one. He is my responsibility.
He'll come for me. He needs me. He's here.
Antlers. I wanted to ask Al something, darn it, about, since it's Fox Searchlight Pictures, as he mentioned, Disney bought Fox. So I wonder, is it under Disney? I'm sure it is, but I don't know. It might be a division that escaped the iron hand of Disney. I don't know. And as we said, Al and I are going to see The Eternals together on opening day on November 5th, starring Angelina Jolie. And we'll do our little movie review from his studio with video and all the bells and whistles, and something we call movie views. And, here's a sample of The Eternals that I pulled for you guys, which is coming soon. And then we'll move on and talk about some more exciting stuff, nerdy stuff. From Marvel Studios.
Thanos erased half of the population of the universe.
Thanos.
The people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger. The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
How long do we have?
7 days.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
We need to find the others.
I haven't seen some of them for centuries.
Hi.
Hello.
This is what the end of the world looks like. At least we have front row seats.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
We have loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
built the perfect safe house. I mean, what's this even made of? Vibranium?
Vibranium.
Fall collection. IKEA.
November 5th. Yeah, so vibranium's supposed to be like one of the strongest metals, like adamantium in the Marvel universe, and it was introduced in movie form in Black Panther. Anyway, item. Moving on, we hit over 1,000 members in our Facebook group, the Nostalgic Podblast. That may not seem like a lot to you, but it is to me. I want to thank everybody for joining the group, and I realize a lot of people probably don't give a crap about my nostalgia show. They just joined because of the articles, which I write most of them myself, and the photos and the fun and remembering the good old days. I understand that, but I want to thank everyone for being there. And something interesting happened last week with Facebook. Interesting meaning it sucked. I got hit by a bot. And I'll explain at the end of last week's show. You may not have seen it. I opened and unboxed on video a package I got from Angela Cartwright, who played Penny Robinson in Lost in Space, and Brigitte von Trapp in The Sound of Music, and little Linda in The Danny Thomas Show, renamed Make Room for Daddy for syndication, and Bill Mooney. And I bought it. I don't want to make it sound like it was a gift. They have a new book out, and it's about Lost in Space, loaded with photographs, and I did an unboxing. And so they did a couple posts after I did that live unboxing Sunday night into Monday morning, East Coast time. And so I commented and I said, and it was a 4-hour show, so I know no one's going to want to watch all that or listen to all that. So I said, look, at 3 hours, 20 minutes, I unboxed and showed the extras because I got the deluxe package. I paid extra for it. It wasn't a gift. I paid for it. Let's be clear. And there was a nice 8x10 still that I showed before the camera and some cards and other neat extras. And they both signed the book and it was great. And so I posted the YouTube link. Well, the Facebook bots thought it was spam. And Bill Mooney himself on his page, when he did a promotional post for the book, he thumbed it up. He didn't have a problem with it. Maybe Angela did. I don't know. But a bot automatically said, you've spammed 4 times. They thought I was like some guy in Nigeria or something, spamming people, spamming celebrities. And I didn't get I got restricted is what it was for 7 days. I think I have 3 days left where I can't post in groups. And usually in the appropriate groups, I will share this Podblast. And I was wondering, and you know what I noticed is when I go to my YouTube channel, The Nostalgic Podblast, I have a little link to this very Facebook group, The Nostalgic Podblast. Please join if you're listening on fistfulofradio.com. We have giveaways and stuff. That's what's in it for you. We give stuff away. But I click the link and none of my posts show up. It's just posts from other people, which is fine. I love it when other people post. So they have really throttled me down. And almost every day I'll get 5 new members. And I'm very grateful for that. All of a sudden it's been stagnant at 1,015 members since they restricted me supposedly from posting in groups only, but I think they restricted me from other stuff too. Because I've done some posts of a cool autographed picture of Henry Winkler. We'll talk about him later. He had a birthday the other day. And I got no response. And I thought, what's going on? And it's because of the gosh darn bots. By the way, I had an incident with eBay. I know a lot. Maybe you can relate to this. If anyone out there sells on eBay, as an experiment, I listed 2 key comic books. Here, I'll hold them up for the camera. I cut the lights out because I want it to be dark and spooky. And you could see my jack-o'-lantern lit up on top of a comic box, which is probably a fire hazard in the background if you're watching on video. But where the hell is it? Yeah, here we go. Oh, it's back there. I'll hold it up in a second for the camera, but I had listed a couple comic books that I had multiple copies of because I'm trying to buy a major comic book, an upgrade of the first appearance of Dr. Doom in Fantastic Four 5. I want a better condition copy. So I'm liquidating just 2 books, right? Well, long story short, this guy wins my 10-day auction and it goes for $2,000 or something for 2 comic books. And you're supposed to pay within 48 hours of the close of an eBay auction. And he says, he sends me a message. I sent him the invoice. And then that night that the auction ended, he said, I'm going to pay you Tuesday. He says, I should pay you on Tuesday. And I almost replied, no, you should pay me within 48 hours. That's the eBay rule. This was a Thursday night and he wanted to pay on a Tuesday. Thursday night's when the auction ended. And I said, no, that's cool. I'll extend it to Tuesday. No problem. I said, now I will have a problem if it's after Tuesday. So Tuesday comes along. I don't hear a peep from the guy. So I write him. I said, hey, are you still on track to pay on Tuesday? And he says, oh man, my bank account tells me my bank tells me I don't have enough funds in my bank account to pay PayPal. And that's bull crap, because PayPal is usually funded by a credit card. And that's a safe way to do it, by the way, because if you buy something that's not legit, then you can dispute it with the credit card, right? So you'd be stupid to pay with cash on any transaction online. So he said that, and I knew something wasn't right. But he goes, you can relist it if you want. And so just because I didn't want to create a problem, I said, no problem. I'll just relist it, which I did for another 10 days. Well, I had the same situation. Auction ended October 29th, back on Friday at 9 o'clock at night, Eastern Atlanta time. And I send the invoice, 24 hours go by and nothing. I don't get a response. And so I just sent him a friendly note. I said, hey, it's been over 24 hours. Do you still plan to pay within 48 hours? Nothing. Ghosted. I'm ghosted. So, and I'm doing all this through my laptop. There's a different version of eBay on your desktop and laptop than there is on your phone. So I happen to be on my phone this very morning, and I send a second invoice to the guy. And when I do that, I see something I couldn't see on my desktop. I see an address and 2 names. It's the same guy that wrecked the original auction. And this time it didn't go for almost $2,000. It went for like, I don't know, almost $1,300 for the same 2 comic books I relisted. And so I damn reported him to eBay, and I made a phone call, actually got someone on the phone on eBay. And I said, look at this connection. I have screenshots. Can I send this to you? And they told me the process. And so, item numbers and all that. So this guy, the moral of the story is, back in the day on eBay, when I was really a hot and heavy seller on there, you could leave negative feedback if someone didn't pay. And you could do like a strike against them for non-payment. And if they got 3 strikes for not paying a seller, they're out. They're suspended. So the new eBay now does it where if you have a non-payer, what they encourage you to do is one of 2 things. You have to relist the item so you get the eBay fees refunded. Or somehow you can do a second chance offer, which I haven't figured out, but you can't do that once you have ended the auction or something like that. So you have to, like, basically cancel the auction like it never happened. And then you get your money refunded, their eBay percentage of the sale. So, I did all that. And, the stupid thing is, it says when you cancel the order, all feedbacks will be removed. So if I leave him a negative feedback for not paying, that gets deleted. And what's stupid is, in the old days, that wouldn't be the case. That's the whole purpose of feedback. So you can give a red flag to other sellers that, hey, this buyer is a problem. And so one of my good lady friends today says, I think that they were they were friends with someone else selling a similar comic. And there are several out there on eBay right now competing with me of the same book. And she this is her theory. She said, I think that somebody was shilling you to drive up the price so it looks like it's a hotter book than it is, so that the people will bid on their item and get the money up on their item, and then they stiff me. Anyway, so I think the reason that the new eBay did this, whoever's in charge over there, they didn't want to shame someone for being a bum for not paying for their auction that they legally won under contract. That's exactly what the mindset was. I mean, what happened to common sense? I'm sorry, we're a nostalgia show. That's just a little personal rant. So let's move on and talk about something else besides my personal BS. But there's just a couple things eBay has done. It's funny, when all these sites like YouTube and Facebook, when they make improvements, it's less user-friendly. These bots, this algorithm thing that Facebook has done, like how I got bit by doing a legit post of an unboxing of a book that they're posting about, and I'm trying to promote it for them, say, I got mine, I love it, look, here I am unboxing it. And Bill Mooney, who played Will Robinson in Lost in Space, and he has a great voice, by the way, unlike me, like I said, he liked it. Anyway, golly, just that really pissed me off. So let's move on with a quick update that I do every show. I'm having issues with my clips today, and I do almost every time I'm live. I'm always live, though. Here we go.
This is Jeopardy!
I love that version of the theme. That's the 80s version. It's kind of, I call it the hyperactive version of the classic Jeopardy theme. So a quick Jeopardy update. The current champion of last week, Jonathan Fisher, a struggling actor originally from Florida who was closing in on $300,000 in winnings on Jeopardy, was defeated by a one-time champion. She beat him and was beaten the very next show. Bummer. Some woman who works at a university system out in Portland. So that was terrible. But did you know that the Jeopardy announcer, Johnny Gilbert, this is Jeopardy, that you just heard, has been the voice of Jeopardy since the very first Alex Trebek hosted Jeopardy episode back in 1984, and he's 93 years old. But earlier in his career, back in 1981 and in the early 80s, he was a sub-announcer for Family Feud, replacing Gene Wood. And there was an episode that aired on Buzzer. This is, I think, kind of gross. Richard Dawson comes out and explains that Gene Wood was with a chainsaw at the time, cutting firewood, and he cut into his own ankle. And so he was out, and it was really bloody and disgusting, and Richard Dawson's making jokes. So he was out. So Johnny Gilbert, the Jeopardy announcer, replaced him for a week or two as he recovered. And I like Johnny Gilbert as an announcer, but he is not good, because I like Gene Wood. Gene Wood's not my favorite game show announcer. That would be the late great Johnny Olson from Match Game and The Price is Right, who died in 1985, a long time ago. But here's how Johnny Gilbert sounds, and I have a clip. He's like, the way he says his D's, he goes, "It's time for the Family Feud. Introducing the Bartels family. Chance, baby." Just listen to the real thing. I can't do it. I'm no Jim Gossett, ace comedian, newsmakerline.com.
My sister Sally's
Let
wedding.
me find that. Where the hell? It is here, I think.
It's time for the Family Feud. Introducing the Bruchette family. Wayne, Bonnie, Larry, Kay, and John, ready for action. And the Kepler family. Duquesne, Sonia, Renard, Grindel, and Joyce. On your marks, let's start the Family Feud.
Family Feud!
And now here is the star of the Family Feud,
Richard Dawson! Anyway. Oh, I think Dawson was about to explain. Oh, well. Forget it. I screwed it up. I wanted to play him talking about the chainsaw accident, but it's pretty disturbing and unpleasant, so we'll just skip that. Now, moving on. Last time, if you're with us on the Nostalgic Podblast, I'm Chance Bartels, your friendly host. We covered Johnny Carson, who had a heavenly birthday, and I played an interview with Barbara Walters of Johnny Carson that Barbara Walters, Baba Wawa, conducted back in 1984. And I just want to play a little bit of part two. That's the bill of my baseball cap. Stroking my mic. That's my mic, my Shure mic. But I want to play a little bit of while I get some coffee and take a little break. Here's part two, and this isn't too long, of a rare interview with Johnny Carson. It's about 7 minutes long. I do want to play the whole thing. I think it's important. Johnny Carson is one of the greatest interviewer of all time, certainly of late night television, if not all of television. And let's listen to a little bit more, if you don't mind, of Johnny Carson with Barbara Wawa from 1984.
Get out in front of people and kind of subordinate, chance to get out in front of people and kind of subordinate your own personality and become somebody else, become a magician. So that worked.
What's your strongest childhood memory? As I say it, what pops up?
Growing up in a small Midwestern town and being quite comfortable and having, I think, basically a fairly average childhood in a small Midwestern town. But strong memories were just the fact that you knew everybody in town. There was a certain closeness about it. I went back a few years to go to a special there.
Yeah.
And I found it very emotional.
In the special that you did a year ago when you went back home, there was a homecoming football game.
Right.
Suddenly, to your surprise, everybody began to sing happy birthday to you. Your brother and sister were there, and you began to cry on camera. The tears came on camera.
I knew this was coming.
And you said, "Don't let me do this, it's going to spoil my image."
That's right.
Right? Is that the way you want to be? When you say it'll spoil my image, is it almost something that's now...
No, I suppose that was a self-defensive type of thing. Maybe it goes back to your upbringing that little boys were not supposed to show emotion. You know, that's the way a lot of children were taught. Little girls could cry, little boys did not express their emotion. A lot of men have that problem. You can feel things very strongly and feel very uncomfortable expressing them. Not that it's a weakness. I don't think it is at all. I find it much easier to do now. I can touch people now, or somebody can come up and...
And touch you?
Sure. But if you're not brought up that way, it's hard to change your basic personality.
Do you feel things strongly?
Oh, very strongly.
Do you cry?
Certainly.
Do you find it hard to let people get through to you? I mean, I don't want to play amateur psychiatrist. You know what you
That's
know
all
what
right.
you
The
say
rates are very, very inexpensive here.
Yeah, we're here. Why not?
Normally it goes for 40, 50 bucks an hour. I mean, if it's a freebie, fine.
Have you been in analysis?
I have seen a psychiatrist occasionally, not frequently.
Do you open up?
Sure.
Or do you say it's none of your business? What are you asking me those questions for? I mean,
No, I don't think that shows. I think a lot of people, it's just someone else to talk with sometimes and to ask some questions and try to get in touch with your feelings. I think it can serve a purpose.
do you have people you can talk with?
Sure, I have some close friends, not a lot of close friends. Depends what you mean by friends. Somebody once said friends are people you can cry with or you can tell anything to and know that it will go no further.
That's hard.
And that's very difficult. I have some close friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. Everybody has lots of acquaintances.
Yeah.
But there's a difference.
When you have to, maybe especially now in these times, when you really have a very difficult day, or even without being corny, if your heart is broken, you know, and you've got to then go out there and be funny. How do you do it?
That's your job. If you're going to entertain and you have to go on a stage or in front of a television camera, you have to set aside, for the moment, what's happening personally. Sure, there are times you have a lot of things on your mind, but strangely enough, once you get out there and it starts to roll and the audience reacts and you get the laughs, you set everything aside.
Do you?
And you do the show. You may have a terrible letdown after the show. That's one of the problems of something like this. You have these big mood swings.
You said once, maybe it's talking about mood swings, that you are a man of great highs and great lows. What was the best and what was the lowest?
I suppose for most performers, the time that you really have that exhilaration is when you are performing and things are going well and the reaction is all there. Whether it's the audience and you find yourself performing where you can almost do no wrong.
You really do love it.
I like what, I love what I do. I still find it a challenge. So I'm not looking forward to the point, if I do this a few more years, I can quit and sit. Sit and do what? You know? So that's the high. Low points have been, I suppose, the lowest point I had was when it was my first divorce. Because my children were quite young, and that sense of failure overcomes you, that you have been less than you should have as a husband or a father, and those guilt feelings can be overwhelming at times, especially if the children are young. That's probably one of the big low points I had.
Does it get easier if it's the second divorce or the third divorce?
It's never comfortable. It's never comfortable. You know? I wish I had another explanation for it. I don't.
One of the things that you do, and one of the things that you've been doing, is to make humor out of the situation.
The decision you have to make is how do you want to handle it? You don't want to be bitter about it. You don't wish to do any jokes that are cruel or to hurt anyone. So you try to turn it and take the joke on yourself if you can. and have fun with it, the situation. And that's what you do. You just sit and it's a gut instinct.
You're really very, I was going to say very moral, and maybe in a funny way what I mean is very square, because you always get married.
Yeah. There must be something to it. I keep trying it.
Could you again?
I'm not even, it's the furthest thing from my mind.
Under the best of conditions, it's very hard to be happy,
So whatever that means.
Whatever that means. What does it mean to you?
Well, I know that you don't go out looking for happiness. I think if you're happy in your work and you're relatively happy with yourself, you don't go out looking for it.
So are you happy?
Relatively.
What would be your idea of the perfect day?
The perfect day?
Yeah.
One of those questions, huh?
Listen, years ago I asked you if you were hospitalized, who would you want in the next bed? Do you remember that?
And I said the best doctor in the world.
That's right.
Yes.
So I'm getting better, you see. Now I only ask about
sense.
perfect days. That didn't make sense.
I don't know. I heard you ask somebody once what kind of a tree would you like to be.
No, I did not. Now, while we're clearing up misconceptions, but you know why I did?
What kind of a tree
No,
would you
just
like to be?
What kind of a tree would you like to be?
I'd like to be a tumbleweed.
Everybody's going to say that I asked you that and I was led into it. What happened was that Katharine Hepburn said, well, I'm like an old tree. What kind of a tree?
Okay, I take it
and
back.
And she said, well, all right.
A perfect day. I suppose if you wake up, to start with.
It still is.
If you wake up and you're not in the obituaries, that's a wonderful start.
Okay. If I had a sentence that went, Johnny Carson is a man who... Finish off that sentence, please.
Is this a multiple choice?
Anything you want.
I hated these in school.
Okay, try one.
Carson is a man who... I don't know how to answer that. You caught me completely off. Whose ass is very tired right now.
They're special. Oh, God, sorry about that. Hope
Do you
your
know
ears
what I
didn't
see
blown out.
I
Oh,
see every
Jesus.
single house wasting
Jeez
money.
Louise,
Why?
I am
Because there's a brand new stimulus
messing up
program
today.
that is providing state-of-the-art.
Sorry about that. So that was a great interview. And, for someone who could interview expertly, he did not like to be asked questions. And, wow. Oh, I love that interview. The first part's a little bit better, I think, but I wanted to at least present over the last couple Podblasts that entire interview. Now, moving on, there's a classic show. Where the hell is that clip here? Yeah, there's a classic TV show that I'm discovering for the first time, this show. Yeah, remember this one?
This is it, this is it, this is life, the one you get, so go and have a ball. This is it, straight ahead, and rest assured, you can't be sure at all. So while you're here, enjoy the view, keep on doing what you do. Hold on tight, we'll muddle through, one day at a time, one day at a time. So up on your feet, somewhere there's music playing. Don't you worry not, just take it like it comes. One day at a time, 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 one day at a time.
This program was recorded on tape before a live audience.
I probably should have been talking over that, but I didn't for a reason. Everything I do is for a reason. The reason I wanted to play that was last week, Antenna TV, which airs one day at a time, rolled over to episode 1. And in that same day, they play 2 episodes back to back at 6 in the evening to 7 in the evening. at 6 and at 6:30. And I never really watched the show. I'm a huge Norman Lear fan, and he's still alive in his 90s. You know, they're doing live, uh, revamped live plays, as I call them, for the Jeffersons and All in the Family with Woody Harrelson, we talked about earlier, as Archie Bunker, for instance. But two shows that Norman Lear developed, I never really watched because I was too young or they just didn't play. One is Chico and the Man, in which Freddie Prinze, not Freddie Prinze Jr., he's still very much alive, but his dad, Freddie Prinze, sadly committed suicide. He couldn't handle fame. But I never watched that one, which also starred Jack Albertson. And One Day at a Time. I never got into it. I loved growing up, you know, watching Valerie Bertinelli for obvious reasons. She was really sexy at the time. As the show went on, you know, she got involved with Eddie Van Halen personally, and they got married and stuff. I just thought she was really cute, but I just never really watched it. I know that Schneider was considered funny, played by the great Pat Harrington Jr., but I just couldn't dig it. So anyway, I started watching. I put it on series recording, and I watched the first few episodes, which have aired, and it's not bad. I'm gonna continue watching it, but the problem is the reason I played that saxophone laden end theme is Antenna TV, where it's airing. I'm not going to knock them because they have great programming, but what they do is they don't play the end credits. They'll start the opening credits of the next show. For instance, after 7:00, when the second episode wraps up One Day at a Time, they start playing the opening credits to Alice, the next sitcom on their schedule. And I don't like that. So you can't even read the end credits because they're shrunk down and you can't hear the end title song. Plus, their episodes are edited from the original length of 25 minutes, 30 seconds to 22 minutes. You're missing over 3 minutes per episode, which is fine. I can see enough of it to get a few laughs. And yes, it's dated, but the writing of those Norman Lear shows holds up so well to this day. So let's see. What else was I going to say about that? Some history about the show. Aside from Valerie Bertinelli, as I said, the cast really didn't wow me. But considering it was rebooted recently, and there were a whopping 9 seasons consisting of 209 classic episodes produced back in the day on CBS, which started on CBS on Tuesday, December 16th, 1975, in the time slot of 9:30 at night. And it ended on Sunday, September 2nd, 1984, at 8 p.m. The time slots changed, of course, throughout the years. Now, did you know, I think this is a fun fact, that Whitney Blake co-created, and she wrote a few episodes for One Day at a Time, and Whitney Blake was best known as Dorothy Baxter on Hazel. She wasn't the maid. She was the good-looking mom who hired Hazel. Mr. B was the boss, and she was the wife of Mr. B, Mr. Baxter. Mr. B is what Hazel called her boss. And also she's the mother of, Whitney Blake is, of Meredith Baxter Burney, who is best known as playing Elise Keaton on Family Ties, and she was in a show also called Family Less the Ties. It was a Laura Moore Productions drama. It actually wasn't a comedy at all. It was a straight up drama called Family, and she was in that before she was Elise Keaton in Family Ties. And again, Pat Harrington Jr., I knew he was talented. I liked watching him on shows from the 50s and reruns like The Danny Thomas Show, renamed Make Room for Daddy, we talked about earlier when I mentioned Angela Cartwright. But again, I never found his character Schneider to be that amusing, but I was incorrect. You know, he's a wise character I'm finding in these early episodes. You know, I prejudged him, and I guess that's the point. That's why I like the writing. He's actually pretty deep in a street smart sense. He's got common sense, which the people at eBay I just talked about clearly don't have when they eliminate your ability to leave a negative feedback for a non-paying buyer. So Schneider's pretty cool. Pretty cool character. And I remember, I did this really irreverent joke. I probably shouldn't tell it, but it relates to Schneider, as a joke. Now, I'm not making light of anything. I'm not making light of the movie or the very real subject matter that it chronicled. True, horrific story. But someone asked me, in a film class, like, and I wanted to sound like a dumbass as a joke. He goes, Chance, what's your favorite movie? What do you think is the deepest movie? Now, no sci-fi, but in terms of a serious drama, what's your favorite dramatic movie. And I said, whoa, easy. It would have to be Schneider's List. And of course, the real movie is Schindler's List, based on Oscar Schindler, who saved a lot of Jewish people from annihilation. And I'm not making light of that. Just, I was trying to be irreverent and not mean. Anyway, I digress. Item, Fremantle Media's Buzzer channel and the Bob Barker Price is Right channel are both killing it. And I want to play or read to you. Actually, I don't have a clip. I'm going to read an article that I just found on vulture.com. Here's the title of the article. No subscriptions, big money, how free streamers are changing TV's business model. At a time when linear channels are fading away into the shadows, meaning people are cutting the cord, and a handful of supersized streaming services dominate, a 6-year-old broadcast network devoted to old game shows might seem about as relevant to the future of TV as UPN, that stands for United Paramount Network, which went by the wayside. Yet, the relatively tiny buzzer is actually thriving right now and has nothing to do with the sudden uptick of consumer interest in episodes of Password or Supermarket Sweep. I can't stand Supermarket Sweep. I like the new version hosted by Leslie Jones from Saturday Night Live, formerly of Saturday Night Live, and she was in the Lady Ghostbusters movie. She's kind of loud, but I like her style of hosting. Ready to play Supermarket Sweep! Wait, let me do it right. It's time for Supermarket Sweep! Leslie Jones. I like her better than the original host of Supermarket Sweep, and that's blasphemy. I didn't really like the original show. It's not one of the game shows I liked. I like the ones with humor and personalities, like Richard Dawson's Family Feud. I like the concentration game shows with the matching numbers, and you have to solve the puzzle. I had the Milton Bradley board game with rollers, and you had to solve the puzzle and really use your mind. It's a good memory game. And of course, what else of the classics? Family Feud, Richard Dawson. I mentioned that, didn't I? Family Feud, Johnny Gilbert. But anyway, so what was the line? I got sidetracked. And it has nothing to do with a sudden uptick of consumer interest in episodes of Password or Supermarket Sweep. No, instead, the Fremantle Media-owned network has managed to dramatically increase its audience and revenues over the past few years by diving headfirst into something called FAST. And its success so far points to a potential path forward for old school broadcasters who are struggling to survive. FAST is short for Free Ad-Supported Streaming TV, or FAST, and that's a rapidly expanding quadrant of the video universe, best known to consumers through platforms such as Pluto TV, Xumo, and Tubi. Viacom, CBS, Comcast, and other media giants have snatched up these services because they've realized there's huge profit potential in serving audiences who can't or simply don't want to pay for an increasingly expensive array of subscription-based streamers. Even TV and device makers such as Roku, Samsung, LG, and the like have jumped into the game. As a result, money is pouring in. Analysts at In-Screen Media estimate revenues from ad-supported streaming will nearly double over the next 2 years, reaching $4.1 billion by 2023. It's really a remarkable development, given that just a few years ago, free streamers were still seen as niche players, with the entertainment industry almost entirely focused on the bigger subscription services. Early on, that meant that Pluto, and by the way, here's how you get Pluto. When you stream something, you can get, which I have, a Roku Ultra, and you can get a Roku with a DVR built in, so you can record like you can with Xfinity, which I have for the time being anyway. But I have Roku Ultra, and so you plug it into the USB port of your TV, of your big screen TV, and voila, if you have a good internet provider, like I have Xfinity, and you know, you can say what you will about Xfinity's customer service, but they have some of the fastest internet out there. I love their internet service. Watch it go down as I say that. I'm jinxing myself. But let me continue with this article. I digress there, but yeah, you just plug it into your TV, so you're not watching on your phone, for goodness sakes. No, and there's a remote control, and the remote control can actually mute your TV, and you just scan through, and there's so much programming. And my favorite on Pluto TV is the classic Bob Barker Price is Right. And there's a whole channel 24/7 devoted to those episodes which have not aired since their original air date back in the 80s. And they started in 1982, and I think they're up to 1984. And sadly, pretty soon they'll get to the point where the original announcer, Johnny Olson, passed away, and he's replaced by Rod Roddy, who was the announcer for the original Press Your Luck and WHEW, which Buzzer picked up. And again, Buzzer is owned by Fremantle Media, who owns The Price is Right, the current and the old version, and they own the rights to the entire Mark Goodson, Bill Todman game show library. But now what they're doing, it's really cool. They just put out an ad. They're hiring a new program director that will specialize in securing deals to obtain programming of other game shows not in the Goodman-Todman library. Like Sony, they own a bunch of great game shows that have not seen the light of day in years, like Joker's Wild and Tic-Tac-Doe, which last ran, I think, in 2008 on GSN, which stinks now. The Game Show Network, they play a lot of new stuff that they air, and they're trying. I'll give them that. But they're, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, they'll never want to do business with me, so I always tell the truth. I have nothing to hide. I don't really like their new programming, their original stuff. And I tried to watch it. I like the classics. I like the irreverent jokes, It's really funny, and the personalities that these hosts had. Anyway, where was I in the article? Yeah, so they've realized, and so what I hate about this article, or what I dislike, hate's a strong word, is when I read that Viacom, CBS, and Comcast, Xfinity, and other media giants are interested in these services. They'll probably buy them up like Disney does. Nothing against Disney. I know a lot of people like Disney. I love Disneyland and Disney World myself. But they're buying everything I like, man. They even own the doggone Fall Guy starring Lee Majors, which turns 40 November 4th, 2021. That was the 40th anniversary, November 4th, 2021, of the airing of the pilot of that rarely seen Lee Majors show. They only released season 1 on DVD, which had Paul Williams in it in one of the guest roles, along with Lou Rawls. And anyway, I'm not going to talk about Fall Guy just yet. I'll save that for November 4th. Can do a whole show on that, and with some pretty wild clips and some good music. But we have so much to cover, and I have to get ready for trick-or-treaters and stuff. And the Braves at 8. Ooh, I mean, they already won. That's right, they already won. They already won 2021. They're the world champions of baseball in the USA and Canada. So, right. So, these big companies, these big media giants are now seeing the light, and they want to get into the game. They see the money coming in. So, let's see where to leave off here. Jeez Louise. I lost it. Oh, yeah. So Viacom, Comcast, and other media giants have snatched up, this is what makes me nervous, these services, because they've realized there's huge profit potential in serving audiences who can't or simply don't want to, I'm repeating, pay for an increasingly expensive array of subscription-based streaming services. Even TV and device makers such as Roku, Samsung, and LG have jumped into the game. I said that already, I know. As a result, money is pouring in. Analysts at Endscreen Media, I know I'm repeating myself here, estimate revenues from ad-supported streaming will nearly double over the next 2 years, reaching $4.1 billion by 2023. It's a remarkable development given that just a few years ago, free streamers were still seen as niche players. Boy, I went back way too far, with the entertainment industry almost entirely focused on the bigger subscription services. Early on, that meant that the Plutos and the Zumos of the world had to scramble just to find content to get their services off the ground. It was around this time when Mark Deitchen, the Fremantle Media executive in charge of Buzzer, realized he had a product well suited to take advantage of this new appetite for ad-supported streaming content. While most existing cable and broadcast channels are loaded with shows supplied by outside studios and are subject to complicated agreements with affiliates and cable operators, just like when you see, this really irritates me. I'm going to digress, but it's on topic. Here in Atlanta, the NBC affiliate is WXIA TV, and they're always battling with Dish Network to renegotiate. I don't know who's at fault. I don't know if it's Dish or if it's XIA, but they put across the screen during Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, "Attention Dish subscribers, you may lose WXIA NBC Atlanta's great local news programming and everything else you love on NBC," which you, of course, could get online for free and with digital rabbit ears. They're not fooling anybody. And I hate that they actually one time put it over the faces of the contestants. I mean, it was like a poorly placed little streaming banner thing. Anyway, I know, first world problems, right? More important things to worry about in life than that, but it just ticked me off. It was so ridiculous seeing these people's heads cut off by this begging by WXIA to Dish Network. Just please pay us more, will you? We gotta eat. I gotta starve a kiddo. See, so again, getting back on topic, Mark Deetjen, that's Deetjen, the Fremantle media executive in charge of Buzzer, realized he had a product well suited to take advantage of this new appetite for ad-supported streaming content. While most cable and broadcast channels are loaded with shows supplied by outside studios and are subject to complicated agreements with affiliates like WXIA and Dish and cable operators, virtually all programming on Buzzer is owned by the parent company Fremantle. Instead of worrying about third parties signing off on a new means of distribution, Deetjen was free to move fast on fast. And that's just what he did. In November 2018, Buzzer struck a deal with Pluto to simulcast its live feed as a channel on the app, thus allowing anyone with an internet connection to watch the network Buzzer on their TV. No antenna or cable subscription required. Other free streaming services, including Sinclair Media-owned Stirr, that's STIRR, and Samsung TV Plus, added Buzzer not long after that. Over the course of just a few months, the network's footprint dramatically widened, with a much younger cohort of cord cutters and cord nevers suddenly discovering the channel for the first time. My friend Danny, friend of the show, Danny Cochran, he hasn't had cable since 1998. He is not up with the news. I mean to tell you what do. So Deetjen of Buzzer, the executive, knew this was a significant milestone for the network, though at the time he didn't think it was that big of a change. I'll be perfectly honest, he told me in a recent telephone interview. When we got into this business, it was, oh wow, this is an interesting platform. It's good for marketing, and we can generate a little bit of money. He didn't know how successful it would be. And then the space exploded. As big media companies started devoting significant resources to marketing their own free platforms, the number of monthly active users of such apps began to skyrocket, as did the amount of income they generated. When Buzzer signed on in 2018, Pluto, still an independent startup, was bringing in about $70 million in revenue each year. This year, under the umbrella of Viacom CBS, the streamer expects to pull in more than $1 billion in revenue. Company CEO Bob Bakish told investors in August. Trickle-down economics may be a fraud at the federal level, but in this case, the success of the free streamers has resulted in a major windfall for Buzzer, my favorite channel, and other programmers who've leapt into the ad-supported arena. Deetjen tells me the channel's weekly audience reach has increased by 50% since the free streaming era began. The app helped, huh? A huge gain at a time when linear networks are generally bleeding eyeballs, even with streaming factored in. And after Buzzer's successes, Fremantle closed a deal with Pluto to create a 24/7 channel devoted to Bob Barker-hosted episodes of The Price is Right and others. Oh, and another channel featuring nothing but Baywatch reruns. Free streaming has also opened up a significant new spigot of cash. Rather than pay a flat fee, partners such as Roku Channel and IMDb TV take over Buzzer streaming ad inventory, and then share a percentage of the revenue with the network based on how much viewership the channel generates. And because streaming viewers tend to be younger and more valuable to advertisers, that income is not insignificant. Quote, the importance of FAST, F-A-S-T, can't be overstated, Dietjen says, the executive with Buzzer and Fremantle Media. Quote, it's created an additional revenue stream, and it has made a material impact on how Buzzer operates. Not surprisingly, Dietjen declined to, quote, get into specifics, unquote, about exactly how much money is being generated by streaming, but he did say it's enough to allow Buzzer for the first time ever to strike deals with outside companies for new programming, like I just talked about, like Sony, who owns a whole bunch of great game shows that need to be brought to the light of day again. FAST, Fast Money, for example, is why the network was just able to wrap a deal with Sony to bring reruns of the Newlywed Game starring Bob Eubanks to Buzzer. It's also what's allowed Buzzer to partner with an independent supplier to unearth the long-lost 1970s quizzer hosted by Tom Kennedy, the brother of Jack Nars, who hosted the concentration of the 70s from 1973 to 1978, and Now You See It and other shows. His brother Tom Kennedy hosted a show called Woo, W-H-E-W, which didn't last long. It was from 1979. I think it only lasted a year. It's a weird game show. But Fremantle Media doesn't own that. So that's a move that Dietjen said brought new eyeballs to their service and convinced him audiences are willing to see Buzzer as the stewards of the genre of game shows, rather than just a repository for reruns. With the added revenue, quote, we can go out and find things that nobody else has found for a really long time, he says. I think that's exciting. That's exciting to a game show nerd like me. And there's some great comedy in these old shows, he says, okay? And much of the way Netflix's often hyped virtuous cycle works, that new content leads to more viewers, resulting in more revenue for Buzzer, which then leads to more new, well, classic programming. It has grown from this really interesting experiment to a real business, Dietjen says. I know some of you are thinking, will this article ever end? I'm almost at the end. I am a sales guy. I'm a numbers guy. This is exciting to me. Plus, I love Buzzer, so this is almost giving me a hard on reading this. Fremantle Media clearly agrees. In order to capitalize on the free streaming boom, the company today will announce it has carved out a new leadership position, Executive Vice President of Global Channels, and that it has promoted Dietjen into that role. Vice President, Executive of Global Channels. While still running Buzzer, he will now also be tasked with digging into the studio's massive content library. Exciting. Which runs the gamut from Baywatch, American Idol, not just game shows, and The Price is Right, to hundreds of game show and lifestyle formats, and using it to expand the company's free streaming offerings in the United States of America and around the world. Dietjen, who will report to Fremantle International CEO Jens Richter for the new role, says he expects to, quote, move fairly quickly, unquote, to take advantage of the growing opportunity. Sounds like he knows what he's doing, and they listen to the viewers. How refreshing. Right now, Fremantle Media has three major kinds of streaming offerings. Binge channels devoted to a single piece of IP, such as the aforementioned Price is Right and Baywatch. Linear-like channels devoted to multiple shows within a broader category. That's Buzzer, classic game show channel, and video on demand, like the dozens of episodes of 1970s Family Feud available on IMDb TV or Amazon Prime Video. My friend Hunter has Amazon Prime Video, and he's noticed that the Richard Dawson Family Feuds are not on there, nor are the Louis Anderson hosted Family Feuds, but the others are there, including the Richard Karn ones and the guy that hung himself, Ray Combs. So sad. He had a huge family, Catholic dude. He just killed himself when he lost his money in a bad deal. He put all his money into comedy clubs in Ohio after Richard Dawson came back in 94 and took over as the host of Family Feud. And that only lasted 1 year. They made it a 1-hour show, and it was up against the O.J. Simpson trial. And the ratings on CNN and Court TV were so strong that the return of Richard Dawson flopped in the ratings. But it was a good show, and he kind of gained weight. He quit smoking, and he had a little daughter. He married a contestant, Gretchen, a contestant on the original Family Feud, but I digress. But my friend Hunter said, Hey, man, there's no Richard Dawson on Amazon Prime. Well, I guess it's on IMDb TV, according to this article. I would guess. I don't know. We both assumed that it was omitted from Prime and Apple TV, because of Richard Dawson kissing anything that breathed, no matter their age, their color, anything. He kissed them all. Age. He kissed anything that moved. Now, Dietjen, the executive's goal is to launch 2 or 3 new channels from those various buckets by the second quarter of 2022. He also says a digital offshoot of Buzzer exclusive to streaming is a real possibility. Quote, "We're absolutely looking at different ways to leverage the brand," he says. International expansion is also a priority. Fremantle has already partnered with Pluto UK, United Kingdom, and IMDb TV's recently launched United Kingdom service, and more deals will follow in the next year or 2. I want to get into this business. And it won't just be exporting American IP, such as Baywatch. Quote, "We've got great content that comes out of a lot of different countries," Dietjen says. I bet. And it's not reality TV. I can't stand reality TV. And I think people that watch that are just robots. That's just me. No offense. Like if you're watching The Bachelor and Bachelorette, maybe I'm missing out. I'm sure it's good comedy, but it's all fake, in my opinion. And I know I'm right. I know I'm right. As much success as Buzzer and Fremantle Media have had so far in free streaming, the next few years will come with new challenges as the space matures. Up until now, having big companies in charge of platforms has been beneficial to content providers, since their arrival helped accelerate growth and quickly turned it into a multi-billion-dollar business. The downside is that these mega corporations are also filling their new services with programming from their own in-house studios and networks, like GSN. This all ties into what I said and what I know. The new shows GSN are making are not very good for the classic game show lover like me and millions of other people out there. Dorks and people maybe that have something wrong with them. Every few weeks seems to bring a new Pluto channel devoted to a Viacom CBS network or property, for instance, while Tubi, IMDb TV, and even the independent Roku channel are spending serious cash on their own slate of original content. None of this means there's no longer room for outside programmers such as Fremantle Media, but with, quote, more traditional content finding its way onto these platforms, unquote, Dietjen notes, not every free streamer is going to be as receptive to pitches for channels as they might have been not too long ago. Quote, "I don't know that they are as desperate for content as they were, say, 18 months ago," unquote, he tells me, using my not particularly diplomatic phrase to describe the early days of the free streaming business. Almost done with the article here. Just a couple more paragraphs. That said, Executive Dietjen believes other factors will more than offset any negative side effects resulting from the bigger players taking over. For one thing, device makers such as Vizio and Samsung are devoting more resources to building their own platforms, making them increasingly important in the free streaming game. And while Amazon, which makes the Fire TV stick, for instance, and Roku, may have some more conflicts as they branch into original programming, neither company has signaled any desire to close themselves off to outside suppliers. That's good. What's more, much the way Netflix still does plenty of deals for shows it doesn't own, the biggest free streaming players are still likely to continue snapping up compelling content from third parties, even if not quite as much as once before. Dietjen thinks Fremantle Media has the goods to compete in this more mature landscape. Quote, "We offer certain benefits to these platforms that may not always be something that they can generate on their own," unquote, he says, pointing to data showing Buzzer viewers like me, Chance Bartels, engage with streaming content for a longer time than is typical for many free streaming channels. Quote, "We're important to them too," unquote. Thanks to Joseph Adalian for that article on vulture.com. And thank God, item, by the way, item. Disney does not yet own Star Trek, The Brady Bunch, Batman, or Bugs Bunny. That is all. And now, at last, it's time for something I do in every Podblast. Got to honor some folks here. That was a long article, wasn't it, folks? Thank you. I think it's impactful. I personally loved it, and I hope that that you learned something from that or dug it. Yes. Yes, it's time. At last. I should have had this prepared. It's time for birthdays. Some notable birthdays this past week and weekend include, back on October 27th, happy 63rd birthday to Simon Le Bon, born on Blue Moon on Monday, October 27th, 1958, in England. Simon shares his father's birthday. That's kind of cool. They're both born on October 27th. Le Bon was born Simon John Charles Le Bon, and he's the frontman of the new wave band Duran Duran, which was founded by childhood friends John Taylor and Nick Rhodes. That's the dude that wore the makeup, along with the singer-songwriter Stephen Duffy in 1978. But Duffy left the band a year later, convinced that they weren't going anywhere. How wrong was he? God, that was big in the 80s, Duran Duran. The band went through a long succession of lineup changes after Duffy's departure, but finally settled on a guitarist and drummer. The band had a powerful pop sound peppered with disco, funk, and electronics, built on a solid rock rhythm section. The band's first album, titled Duran Duran, by the way, if Al Hardy were here, would say, that's based on the movie Barbarella. The villain in that movie was named Duran. And he would be right. That sounds nothing like Al Hardy. You know what? Duran was named after a character. Hey, I'm just going to give it up. I can't do an impression of Al Hardy no more. And I think my voice is going to give out today. But the band's first album, titled Duran Duran, was released in 1981, over 40 years ago. And Duran Duran quickly became famous as part of the new romantic movement. 3 more albums followed in quick succession: Rio in 1982, Seven and the Ragged Tiger in 1983, and the live album Arena in 1984. I had all of that, man. A lot of people don't like Duran Duran. I liked them because I was getting into girls, and girls loved Duran Duran. What the hell going on with this thing? And if you're watching on TV, I'm messing up. Each album release of Duran Duran was accompanied by heavy media promotion and a lengthy concert tour as well. I can't believe I don't mention the music videos. We'll get into that in a second. By mid-1984, Duran Duran were ready for a break. Duran Duran's only other work that year was an appearance in the 1984 Band Aid charity single, Do They Know It's Christmas, which was like the pre-We Are the World. I think We Are the World copied that, but Bob Geldof put that together. Do They Know It's Christmas, a charity record. Duran Duran was hugely successful in the 80s with massive single, dance 33-inch records and long-playing records, as well as tour ticket sales worldwide. And the music videos that Duran Duran produced were definitely cutting edge and at times controversial, like Girls on Film from their debut record album, Duran Duran, Nude. I thought I heard my phone going. And The Chauffeur, which was a cut from their second album titled Rio. Those were both like some of the more sexy and controversial music videos that they produced. Now, moving on. Birthdays back on October 29th include, don't wait for me, Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws, best known for acting in Jaws. He turned 74. And he was born back on Wednesday, October 29th, 1947 in Brooklyn, New York. Richard Dreyfuss won the Academy Award for Best Actor in 1978 for The Goodbye Girl. And at the time, he was the youngest ever actor at age 30 to win. I don't think that's true. Patty Duke won an Oscar for The Miracle Worker, and I think it was Best Actress, not Best Supporting Actress, for playing Helen Keller. I don't know. But then again, maybe it means male. But see, these days, actor can be male or female. I mean, that's nothing to do with the gender bender stuff. I'm just saying, for quite a while now, for like 20, 25 years, a female actress is no longer an actress. She's an actor. So I got to research this, and I should have looked this up. Anyway, this article claims that at the time, that bull crap, because Patty won in 1962. Anyway, but I'll just read this at verbatim. In 1978, Richard Dreyfuss won an Oscar for The Goodbye Girl, at the time the youngest ever actor at age 30 to win. Bullshit. And was nominated in 1995 for Mr. Holland's Opus. I first saw him watching TV when I was homesick, playing hooky when I was homesick, in a TV rerun of a black and white season 2 episode of Bewitched, where he played a warlock named Rodney, who was in love with Samantha Stevens, who of course was married at the time. And he turns himself into a dog to avoid her husband, Darren. That episode was titled Man's Best Friend and aired on ABC back on May 12th, 1966. And it was filmed 9 years before Jaws, the movie that put him on the map. There were 254 episodes filmed of Bewitched over 8 seasons on ABC, starting on Thursday, September 17th, 1964 at 9 p.m. until Saturday, July 1st, 1972 at 8 p.m. And by the way, Antenna TV had a marathon on Halloween 2021, all day and night of Bewitched episodes, Halloween episodes, as well as other ones that sort of had that theme of Halloween. But the crazy thing about this episode, it was towards the end of season 2, and he's like lusting after Samantha, and she had just given birth to the character Tabitha Stevens. And the strange thing about the name Tabitha was, initially, the name was spelled like taking a bath. Tabitha, T-A-B-A-T-H-A. But it was later spelled Tabitha with an I. T-A-B-I-T-H-A. In seasons 2, 3, and 4, her name was spelled Tabatha with an A in the second syllable. Beginning in season 5, the spelling of her name changed to Tabitha with an I in the second syllable. Now, why was this spelling changed? I don't know. And I did research and I couldn't find out why. I do know they made a Tabitha doll, and maybe the name change was due to the Tabitha doll merchandising rights. And I'm probably right. That's just an educated guess, but I could be wrong. Now, since we're talking Bewitched, I'm going to play the original, this is rare, opening credits to season 2. What's happened was someone doesn't know what they're talking about or what they're doing at Sony, who owns Bewitched presently, is in charge of the DVD releases. They were released on DVD some time ago in the mid, like 2004, 2005, 2006. All 8 seasons are out on DVD. But what happened was somebody that doesn't know what they're doing used the season 1 version of the opening credits for all of the opening episodes with Dick York, all 5 seasons. And each year they had a different orchestration of the opening theme. Music nerd of all types. I love music of all kinds. And I want to play the season 2 original opening, which is rare. This is from 16mm film in my collection. Listen to this. Brought to you by Chevrolet. I like that version because it's more jazzed up. Like the season 1 version was a slower version, like you get it. I'm embarrassing myself. Now I want to play a quick clip of Richard Dreyfuss on Bewitched. Oh, I should have had this queued up as well. But here it is from Man's Best Friend, where he plays a warlock, Rodney. This is visual, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit. He's in the form of a dog. Darren's sleeping on the couch. That's not good audio. Let me get to... Here we go. Here's a clip of Richard Dreyfuss from Bewitched.
No, don't hit me.
Darren grabs Richard Dreyfuss as he's trying to walk up the stairs to her bedroom.
What do you think of man's best friend now?
No, never mind what he thinks of me. What about what he thinks of you?
Stay out of this.
You said your marriage was based on mutual trust and respect. Well, I proved you were wrong. He didn't believe you were telling the truth.
Yes, I did.
You did?
Yes. Just once I wanted to win out over witchcraft without any help from you. Besides, I didn't want you to spoil your record.
He's lying.
That's why I went to bed at 8:30.
You don't know how happy I am to hear you say that.
It's sped up,
Thank
time
you, sweetheart.
compressed. This is how distorted their voices sound.
Pardon me. Does this mean that you're not coming away with me?
Sam, will you excuse me for just a minute?
Punch him out. Here comes Mrs. Kravitz, the original Mrs.
What are you
Kravitz.
gonna do? I'm gonna punch you right in the nose.
Oh, yeah, there you go. He turned into a dog right when he's about to sock him. Looking in the window, actually, I sit corrected, is not Mrs. Kravitz. Sadly, the original actress Alice Pierce, who played the original Gladys Kravitz, died of cancer towards the end of season 2. So this was like supposed to be a relative. Obviously, it was written for Mrs. Kravitz, Gladys Kravitz, the nosy neighbor,
going to stay this way?
before she got sick.
Oh, it's just one of his old tricks. He knows you won't hit a dumb animal.
A dumb animal?
I'm going to call the pound.
That won't work.
That's not nice. Dogs are smart.
Mr. Stevens? I saw you already.
All right. I better cut the clip. That's getting a little long there. Now, I have a clip of Richard Dreyfuss talking about filming Jaws, and this is from the Rachel Ray Show, so it's somewhat of a recent interview. And then I want to talk about a funny, more recent movie he did, a funny horror movie.
More?
Here we go.
All right, do one more. Hit one. Richard just
Get to
made
it.
himself 10 bucks.
Rachel Ray
I'll tell you one
and
story.
Richard
All
Dreyfuss.
right, tell me
Here we go.
one.
We shot the film on Martha's Vineyard, and you could follow the progress of the film by the amount of radio mics there were all over the island,
Right.
even if you didn't care. And you heard,
I like
the
her.
shark is not working. The shark is not working. The shark is... And the shark never worked, and Steven Spielberg had to reconceive the film because the shark never worked.
Bruce was broken.
Bruce would come up and go, ho, ho, ho. And
Bruce would kill himself.
that's right. Because, unbeknownst to all of us, we were the first film ever to try to be made on the real ocean. No film had ever done it.
Really?
So, one day, you heard this. The shark is working. Repeat, the shark is working. Repeat, the shark is... The boat is sinking. The boat is sinking. And I was on that boat. And...
Did you take a whole lot of swim and scuba lessons before you went out to do this?
Not before, but after.
After you figured that.
And so on the boat was Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, myself, a 70-year-old sound man with a $50,000 Nagra tape recorder, and the stunt coordinator who jumped to the wheel because our anchor had just come out of the floor of the ocean, and we were sinking in the Atlantic Ocean. And he was trying to power the boat into Chappaquiddick Island, and all the time screaming, "This is the worst!"
Ted Kennedy?
This is the worst."
Sorry.
And Robert Shaw decided that if he was going to die that day, he was going to die neat. And he unfolded his cuffs, and he folded up here, and he took his hat, and he stood in the bow of the boat.
Very captain-like.
Waiting to be picked up, and Stephen was sending all these safety boats, you know, get the actors off the boat, get the actors off the boat. And
We
I'm
don't
trying
have
to help.
enough insurance.
I'm trying to help a 70-year-old sound man get his leg over the side, and Stephen's yelling, "Get the actors off the boat!" I said, "Stephen, he's 70 years old," and he said, "Like him, get the actors off the boat."
Okay, that was a pretty interesting clip, but I wouldn't say it's hilarious. Now, I like Rachel Ray, and that was courtesy of the Rachel Ray Show official YouTube channel. But the headline of this clip, and I didn't watch the whole thing, I just assumed it was hilarious. The title is Richard Dreyfuss Tells a Hilarious Story About the Filming of Jaws. I mean, that was entertaining, but I wasn't laughing out loud. It wasn't laugh out loud funny. Now, this next movie, I recently watched it well, about a year ago with Al Hardy in his fantastic home theater setup, had Richard Dreyfuss in it, and it's called Piranha 3D. And the effects guy who did the effects did Walking Dead, Greg Nicotero, and his effects company K&B Effects before he was a big-time director. Here's a little bit of the trailer. What's happening is, because it's somewhat visual in the beginning, it's showing beneath a lake, you see a fissure open up. You see like there's an earthquake and you see a crack in the floor beneath the water. And all these piranha are about to come out. It's from Dimension Films. And Richard Dreyfuss is just
right there?
Yeah.
Quake, open that up.
fishing in his boat innocently when this is all happening.
Oh my God.
Elizabeth Shue's in the cast. Jerry O'Connell. Wait, I mean to stop this. They do a funny, because it's kind of visual there. They do a funny take on the guy that did the Girls Gone Wild spring break videos, that scumbag. And so Jerry O'Connell plays that character, and they do a parody, and that piranha wound up eating his penis off. And you see the end credits in 3D. This piranha, you see his penis floating in the mouth of the piranha, and the piranha spits it out. It's like, yeah, he spits it out. And I remember we laughed our asses off when that happened. I knew it was coming because I saw it in the theater. No pun intended. But Al just thought that was hysterical. He laughed out loud at that part. Anyway.
It bit me.
Hey,
Something bit me.
Down there?
Oh my God.
And to the character, after he's had his penis eaten off, it's all fake, folks, prosthetic. He's on the boat, and they have like a blanket over him, and there's blood everywhere, and he's in shock. He's going, ah, ah, ah. And they, did he get my dick? Did he get my penis? Did he get my dick? Did he make? And they reveal he has no legs. It's just like basically a torso. I think it's fun. It had a lot of good gags, as I call them, horror effects and stuff, like a girl's parasailing up and down, and then she goes down and then comes up, and it's just the upper half of her body with a bunch of guts hanging out. To me, that's the kind of like horror comedy that I like. You know, you can tell it's not real. It almost looks like a cartoon, but that movie's funny. I don't care what anybody says, Piranha 3D. And they made a sequel that I bought on Blu-ray, and I never watched it. I got it like maybe 6 months ago, and I still haven't watched it yet. But I don't think it'll be as good as the original. And also, who's in the cast? They had a pretty top-notch cast. I mean, sure, their heyday had come and gone, I guess, but Christopher Lloyd from the Back to the Future movies, Doc Brown, and talked about him last week from Taxi, who played Jim, and everything. You know Christopher Lloyd. He's in the movie. He plays a scientist who tells everyone, these are prehistoric piranha. You can't kill them. Let me continue with the trailer.
Sam.
And it's spring break, right? So you have all this TNA and deadly fish converging.
For weeks.
And Ming Rhines is in it.
I want to know what the hell this thing is doing in my...
Remember him from Pulp Fiction? Are you okay? I'm pretty effing far from okay.
Is that a piranha?
This particular piranha vanished 2 million years ago.
Over the top. I love it. Christopher Lloyd.
I'm thinking about closing the lake.
There's us.
He's
There's
like John.
20,000 kids. You do the math.
Take it off!
The sheriff has declared an
Ming Rhymes.
emergency.
Don't worry, we got Pete over here!
Piranha hunt in packs. The first bite draws blood. The blood draws the pack.
Pandemonium! And it shows right now Richard Dreyfuss, who's in the very beginning of the movie in his fishing boat, and the water starts swirling like somebody flushing a commode down the drain, and he's spinning towards the killer fish.
Piranha.
Shows this girl with a bunch of fish in her face, about to eat her face. I don't know, man. I thought it was really, really a lot of fun. I mean, it's a mindless movie, but I loved it, man. Eli Roth movie. All right, moving on, and then I need to call our next guest. Big friend of the show, but moving on in our birthdays from October 29th. Born Friday, October 29th, 1948, in Birmingham, Alabama, is Kate Jackson. She's 73. Now, most people remember her from Charlie's Angels, but she had other roles that were much better, and she looked better when she was in her 20s, not because of age or ageism, because she had longer hair when she was in a show called The Rookies, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, she was supposed to play the ex-wife in the movie Kramer versus Kramer. We'll talk about that in a second. I think this is a good story. And who got that role? Of course, Meryl Streep. And that role put Meryl Streep on the map as a serious actor. I mean, she'd done Deer Hunter before Kramer versus Kramer. Maybe you could say that put her on the map, but really Kramer versus Kramer stood out for her. And I met her. By the way, Meryl Streep, I met her on the set with Tommy Lee Jones, who directed a movie called The Homesman we shot in Westville, Georgia. I was just an extra, but it was a small set in Westville, which is near Columbus, Georgia. And it's an old West town. They have schools that do field trips there. And she's short. Doesn't Meryl Streep look big on camera? But she's small. And I tell you, Tommy Lee Jones was such a cool director, but he had 3 stand-ins in the back of a stagecoach with horses pulling it through the town. And, you know, standing in for the first team actresses. It was 3 women. And they were talking. I remember he goes, "Settle down back there. Settle down back there." But he goes, "Settle down back there." And then remember there was one shot where they were using a motor to create smoke, like simulating a fireplace in one of the old West building. It was a building. And it was making noise. And he goes, "Man, what the hell's that noise?" And they go, "Oh, that's making the smoke." He goes, "Well, I'd rather have no noise than the damn smoke." And, of course, I loved him in the Fugitive 1993 movie, Tommy Lee Jones, but working with him was great. It was great seeing him direct. It was an awesome experience back in 2013 in Westville, Georgia, which is a fictional town just outside of Columbus, a military town where Fort Benning is. So, oh, gosh, I digressed. I want to talk a moment, talking about Kate Jackson's birthday, about a movie that nobody remembers, but it was awesome from 1993 she was in. It was very engrossing. Don't laugh, but it was a Lifetime TV movie in which she played a baby snatcher based on a true story named Rita Donahue. And she had a barren uterus. And so she took this poor baby, and the movie is titled Empty Cradle, which is based on true events. I just said that. And it was a 1993 TV movie directed by Paul Schneider, based on actual events, but the scenario has been somewhat fictionalized for entertainment purposes, and boy, was it well made. In that movie, Jane Morgan, a real person, a real character based on a real person, is played by troubled Lori Loughlin, you know, from Full House, the one who paid to have her daughter admitted illegally and lied about her resume. You know, Lori Loughlin, but she's a gorgeous lady. But this is back in 93, before all that. And she plays the mother of 2 children, Sally and Sam. Camilla Bell played Sally and Zachary Brown played Sam. So, boy and a girl. And she's pregnant with her 3rd child. And she's been separated from her husband, Bob, played by David Lansbury, for a while, who is desperate to win his wife's affection back. At 5 days past her due date, Jane goes into labor. Everything's going well until she is suddenly sedated by a nurse, Rita Donahue, played by Kate Jackson. Hours later, she regains consciousness. The doctor wrongly informs her that she went into labor prematurely and that her baby was stillborn. Noticing the level of drugs that were in her body after labor, he suspects that she has abused pills which he thinks caused the death of the baby. Little does Jane know that Rita... Oh, I'll have to talk about this in a second. I think we have a special call coming in. We do. We interrupt this. I'll get back to this sordid movie tale. The Nostalgic Podblast. Is this James Tim Walker?
This is him, or this is either him or this is Memorex. I don't know, one or the other.
Is it live or is it Memorex? I remember that nostalgic ad and product.
Well, I do too. You know, if you say it's Memorex, I'm not going to say something and then crack. Fall apart.
Fine, man. Happy Halloween. I'm going to run the hell out of this, and I know you have a big announcement to make. So glad to hear from you. I'm going to cut the lights on. I don't know if you're watching. You're probably not. I have to cut out the lights for a Halloween atmosphere with a jack-o'-lantern.
Can I go to you online here? Where do I go to?
Oh, don't worry about it. I was just saying I'm going to turn the lights on, point being, so I can show your book. Because I had turned the lights out.
Yeah.
Please, what have you got going on? How have you been? If you don't know, James Tim Walker is a retired animator, Emmy winner. He's worked with Hanna-Barbera. By the way, later I'd love to hear a Ralph Bakshi story because I'm going to talk about his birthday, which is coming up in early November. But
Did you get? I sent you a message, a text of a photograph of something I just got that is fantastic. Did you get something that I just sent you about 5 minutes ago? A picture of something?
Well, you know what? I think the number. That's just a landline, so no, I did not. Offline, I'll give you the number I can get texts on. No, I did not, sir. If you tried the 770-438 number, that's just my show line, and doesn't take text. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, text me a number and I'll send it to you. I don't want to tell you what it is. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Well, say what. I'll do it while we're talking.
Okay,
while you're talking.
Okay, what did you want me to talk about first here?
Whatever you want. You have the floor.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, I'll tell you what came up. This all came up so quick, it was unbelievable. My neurologist has an office in Fresno, California, which is in Northern California by Sacramento and San Francisco and all that. And she does a lot of work with Stanford University, which is at the forefront of Parkinson's disease, the forefront. And she went over there one day, and she took my book with her, and she showed the doctors at Stanford, and they saw the book, and they wanted to meet me. So they did a Zoom message with me. This all happened within a month. They did a Zoom interview with me, and they asked me some questions, and they looked at some stuff, and they said, we like you. You have a great attitude. We want you to come up and do an on-site visit with us, okay? So Susan and I, we got a friend of ours to drive me up there, and we stayed up there for about 3 days, and I had an interview with them, and they said, don't take your meds for a day or two before you get here. We want to see you off the meds. We want to see you on the meds. So I went up there. I was off the meds, and I stumbled through the thing exactly like I thought I would. And then I was on the meds, and I went through it like a hot knife through butter. They loved it. And they said that one doctor looked at me, and he looked at my arm, and he said, I brought some originals up with me. And they looked at the originals, and he looked at me, and he said, do you know or understand the magnitude of what you have accomplished here? And there's nothing short of a miracle. You are incredible. We have never seen anybody like you. Your attitude is through the roof. You have attitude. You have hope and inspiration for people. We want you with Stanford. You are great. We're going to do the deep brain stimulant operation on you. Okay? Well, let's get it set up right now. This is like mid to late July. They said, okay, we're gonna operate on you. It's a 2-stage operation, Friday and the week between them. We're gonna schedule you for the 13th of August and the 20th of August. That's Friday the 13th, and it's great. Would be a great way to start.
Of all days.
Yep. Yeah, of all days. That doesn't bother me, man. I get, the big guys in my driver's seat, so I'm not worried about that. So, and then the 20th. So I come back, and I have to wait till that time. Now it's like August 9th or something like that, or August 8th. And of course, I've confided in you. I'm a proud member of a 12-step group that keeps me clean and sober.
Amen.
So I was at my meeting one morning, and a guy comes in, and it's a Zoom meeting, so there's people from all over the world that come to our meeting because our meeting is such a crazy thing. And this guy comes from New York. I don't know him from Adam, and he says to me, he makes an announcement, I'm so-and-so, and I'm here to see Tim. What? Who is? I don't know this guy. And he looks at me and says, Tim, you have to get this operation. I got it in November of last year, and it's life-changing. Life-changing. You'll do great because you're doing great on meds, I can see. You got the great attitude. You'll do great. You've got to get it. So it was like God said, I got in to hold my hand to answer every question, every anxiety that I had about this operation. I went up there with no anxiety or anything. I was ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's move it. I get up there. I'm in there. I check into the hospital. I had to go by myself to check in because it's a COVID thing. They can't let anybody in, unless you have your stuff with us. And we didn't have season stuff. We didn't know we had to bring it, so she couldn't get in. So I get in there. I get in the bed. They get me on the wagon. They roll me in the ER. I see the doctor right in front of the operation room. Let's go, Doc. Let's go. I'm let's go. 6-hour operation. Halfway through the operation, they say, now they wake you up because they want you to move various parts of your body. So, they're getting what they want. The placement is where they want it for the electrode. And then they say, we want you to draw something. Now, draw something on this paper. And I had in the piece of paper and a pencil. I couldn't see the paper because there was something in front of me, a light or something. And so I'm drawing away, and I go, oh, my God, it's Dino the dinosaur. And everybody in the ER cracked up. All the people cracked up. The drawings were very roof. They were very rough and loose. There was not too much that you could tell, but it was what they wanted to see. It was all they cared about. So I made it through the operation. Great. I did great in it. And then I came back the next Friday. The 6-hour operation was the main one. The next operation was the following Friday, and that was 45 minutes, and it was like an outpatient thing where they put the pacemaker in your chest, and they hook up the electrodes to it. And I did great on that. It's been fantastic. They have an 80% success rate with this thing, and I'm waving to people now. I go waving, not shaking, waving, not shaking. They will cut my meds in half. They're going to start to cut them down. I saw my neurologist a week ago here in LA, and she hooked up with the one at Stanford, and they said they ran numbers with it. I don't know what I was doing, and they said my numbers were great. I was going to start reducing my meds, which she'll be in control of here because she knows all about the device I have and everything. And 2 days ago, the head doctor, the head neurologist who operated on me called me and wanted to know how I was doing, and he said to me, Tim, you're fantastic. We love you here in Stanford. You are so positive. You are so full of hope and inspiration for people. You're so generous with your time and your artwork and everything. We want you involved with Stanford on every level. And also, I have a guy who's going to work on a documentary about me that has met with me and come over to see the artwork, and he's gone wild over the Parkinson's artwork and the other artwork too. And Paul Williams, the singer-songwriter, has seen it, and Paul is on board.
Paul Williams, may I stop you right there? Paul Williams, from Smokey and the Bandit, he's written so many songs, not just for television, but real hit songs. He's a little dude like me, but he's got a big heart. And I didn't set this up properly. Your animating career was curtailed briefly when you were diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which made you unable to draw with your right hand. You had to teach your body to draw with your left hand. And recently you had a medical procedure while you're conscious and you're drawing while you're being operated on.
Yes, exactly. And then I was asleep when I started. They woke me up for a while. I drew and I did some things that they wanted me to do. And then I went back to sleep, and then I was out of there like it was nothing. And the funny thing was, my friend who was my guardian angel from New York, who saw me do this, I see him after I get home, after the operation, everything. He says to me, Tim, that was a 6-hour brain operation. That's serious stuff, man. That is serious stuff. I said, well, it's a good thing you didn't tell me this beforehand. If I would have known that beforehand, I'd have been hiding in Chancellor's closet back east somewhere. You wouldn't have found me because I'd be too scared to do it. But you told me afterwards, and now I go, wow, it was. Oh, my God, I think about it. I didn't think about it before. I just went up there and boom, 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 let's go. And that's how you have to do it. Medicine, the medical field is so good now. I mean, there's so many things that are happening that are positive and great for people, and they're having such success rates on everything. It's just like a meal for the doctor. I say, you just go and you do it. Place your faith in God and you do it. You just do it because He's here to help you, and you get through it. I mean, if I can get through this, he said so many magnificent things to me on the phone. He was so happy, and they just loved me, and I just like, God, I used to be a nut. How did this happen? Well, I found the power to do so, and that's keeps me going. And man, I'm just all about hope and inspiration. Man, hope and inspiration for everybody.
Giving back.
So, giving back, paying back, and you got to pay back.
Pay it back.
You have to.
Pay it forward.
Yep. You have to pay back. So that's what's going on that end. I mean, everything is great. I had an episode of muscle spasms in my leg the other day, and I did that. I had it for 4 weeks, and I went to the ER the other night in the emergency room, and they gave me a shot, some pills, and the doctor said, "Where have you been? You had these for 4 weeks. Well, what were you doing? How'd you get around?" I said, "Well, I took 2 steps towards the room, and then I crawled." "You crawled?" "Yeah, I crawled. It hurt so bad." They said, "You should have been in here 4 weeks ago. What's wrong with you?" So I'm going to go get a CT scan tomorrow, and there's probably some bruise. I went to the gym right after I was out of I was out of the gym for about 2 months after the operation. I went back too early. I did some very light stretches, not anything bad at all, no workout at all, but it was enough to tweak my muscle or something. So we'll find out what it is tomorrow. Maybe it's a bruised muscle or a torn muscle or something. I don't know, but hopefully it'll heal. But I'm doing well. I'm painting. I don't know if you've seen any of the new abstract stuff. If you've gone to the website and seen any of the new abstract stuff, I've been
All
doing.
the time. I'm always seeing it on your social media. It's great.
Yeah. The people are loving it, and so things are happening, and it's all good, man. It's all good. When good things happen to good people. It's not bad stuff all the time. There's good stuff out there.
Amen, brother. And I pray that your leg, like you said, is just something related to your workout. I'm sure it's. I mean, I pray it's. I'm sure it's just a.
So what? And then, did you text me that number? I gotta check this out because I want to send you this. I want you to see this if you can.
Awesome. Hey, I got a tip for you, man. Do you like coffee?
Yeah, I do. I like lattes and that kind of stuff. My wife is a real coffee drinker. I'm not the real coffee drinker. I just get one once in a while.
Okay, I'm usually not either, and when I do drink, it's usually in the late fall or winter. But I'm drinking coffee now, and I usually do when I do the show. I was just going to give a little tip. Do you have French vanilla ice cream? Do you like ice cream at all?
Yeah. Oh God, are you kidding me? I like cream caramel, salty caramel.
Oh yeah.
Salty caramel, whatever. French or tell them what salty caramel is to die for, and California pizza, not California pizza, the other one. Oh God, I'll think of it. I can't. But I love all that creamy caramel stuff. I love all that stuff.
Very cool. Well, I made a pot of coffee with an old school Braun coffee pot with spring water and just regular Folgers dark blend, and I put a dash of sugar and a tablespoon of French vanilla ice cream by Mayfield Dairies, which is a Southeast thing. They may not have Mayfield in your neck of the woods in Southern California. So good. That's all I had to say.
Oh, I got to try it. That sounds delicious.
It is good.
I'm looking for your what am I looking for here?
The Nostalgic Podblast Facebook group.
Oh, Facebook?
Should be right there, and then it's going to be on YouTube later. I have to clear clips because I play a lot of clips, so after I'm live, it goes on YouTube. I just have to make sure that there's no problem with the audio.
Can I send you this picture that I want to send you? Can I send that to you? Can I send that to you?
Of course. I will. What I have to do offline is give you my text line, because this number you're calling on is just for the show. It's literally a landline.
Okay, good. Okay, well.
I can't wait to see it.
What else is happening? What's going on with you and the show?
Oh man, not much. Just the same old thing. I've expanded to do like a movie review show with Al. You know Al Hardy, and we just been hanging out with him in between gigs, and we catch movies. And then he has a more elaborate home studio than I have, and he has video capabilities that I don't have yet. And so we're doing something called Movie Views, and I've been drawing. I did take your advice, and you said don't give up, because I thought I'm not as talented as other people I saw in art class. Talked about that with you before, and I got discouraged. But I've been doing some pen and ink stuff, and just staying busy. And, I'm not, what am I saying? And I have a major development. I'm now in charge of programming, and I'm the CEO of fistfulofradio.com, so I can air your interviews pretty much whenever I want. But we have daytime programming that I adhere to Monday through Thursday, but then Friday I have the light stuff, and then overnight. So before this show would air, which you could stream on fistfulofradio.com, fistful of radio, easy for me to say .com, Saturday and Sunday 2 to 6. Well, now every night overnight I air the show. I schedule it. So that's big. And so any advertising revenue, I'm getting 100% of that, which is nice. So I can't believe I forgot to mention that to you. That happened a couple months ago.
Wow, that's incredible. That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. Keep these things going, boy. It's all good, man. I love it. Now, you want to hear Ralph Bakshi stories?
Yes, please. I'm going to cover him. What I do, before you get started, I do like a birthday segment, and he's coming up. So yes, I'd love to hear a Ralph Bakshi story.
Is he gonna be on the show?
No, I'm just doing a mini biography. No, I wish.
Okay.
I wish.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. I'll make a comment when you tell me. So.
Go ahead.
What else have I got? I'm trying to think of what else is happening. Well, I'm a huge Tampa Bay fan. I've been a Tampa Bay fan ever since they started when John McKay left USC. I'm a big USC fan as well, and they're not very good this year. So I'm following Tampa, which I'm loving. Brady. I have to get every win I can get because I've had so many losses for so many years that I'm just loving this season. So I'm thinking they're on later this afternoon. I hope. I don't know.
There you go. Tom Brady. Yeah, you can't go wrong with him.
No, you can't. Boy, he's rewriting every record book.
Our Atlanta Falcons are abysmal, but hey, the Braves, they're about to win the World Series. If you like baseball,
I like baseball. I think that I'm for the Braves this year. Let's go Braves. Go Braves. They got one more game to play, right?
yeah, you're not mad about the Dodgers? Are you a Dodgers fan?
No, I'm not a Dodgers fan. I've never been a Dodgers fan. I've lived my whole life, but I've never been a Dodger fan.
That's
I've
cool.
always thought the Angels. I was a Yankee fan for a long time. I just like baseball. I'll watch it once in a while. I usually don't care too much about who wins, but there's something I like Atlanta, and of course I don't like anybody that will beat Houston. Fine with me.
It's not a great town, though. You wouldn't want to live here. It's a nice place to visit. Actually, it's not even a nice place to visit unless you like the Georgia Aquarium and restaurants. You're in a much better place. But, I'm glad that even if you were a Dodger fan, as you know, you should root for the National League if you're in a National League town. I mean, I guess. And root for the team that knocked off your team. That's what I do. Because when the Dodgers beat the Braves, I rooted for them because they were the better team.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway. Well, so you're going to watch the Bucks, huh? Tampa Bay? I got to check.
Who are they playing today? I think they're playing. Are they playing the Bears? Or was that last week? Maybe that was last week.
Here, I'll tell you. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm a baseball fan. I like NFL too. I'm a Steelers fan. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me see.
I like the Steelers. I like it when the Steelers play the Rams. I love that. I'm not a Rams fan either.
Let's see here. They're playing right now against the Saints, and unfortunately the Saints are winning, but it's only the second quarter. It's about to be halftime as we're live, 16-7. So Tampa Bay is going to bounce back.
They always bounce back. Let me see if I can find it on this tube here.
Do you have a sports package at home?
Yeah, I do. It's on there somewhere,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's probably on DirecTV or whatever you have. But yeah, it's on right now.
Well,
it's halftime now. Now it's halftime, so you got half an hour or so to find it.
Oh yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah.
So
One possession game too. Huh?
What else is going on? I'm trying to think of anything.
Well, I'm excited about this partnership with Paul Williams. I'm a fan of his, and what's interesting is November 4th marks the 40th anniversary of the airing of the very first episode and pilot of The Fall Guy, which was kind of a cheesy 80s action show starring Lee Majors and Heather Thomas and Douglas Barr. And in the very first episode, Paul Williams played himself, and he's performing at the Palomino Club in some scenes, and he's singing Crazy by Patsy Cline. And when it was released on DVD back in 2006 by 20th Century Fox, now Disney owns Fox, as you know, they for some reason removed all of Paul Williams' scenes and they blurred out his face. And they also were cheap. They didn't want to pay the musicians. They hired a garage band not to do covers of songs, because in most cases in The Fall Guy, the original pop songs, which were new at the time, like Elton John or whatever, were performed by a secondary group. And Fox didn't even put those in the shows. They removed that and just had nondescript garage band music. I always wondered why in 06 that his scenes were removed, but I'm such a nerd. I have every episode of The Fall Guy on 16 millimeter reel-to-reel film. That's 110 episodes. I count the stories that were 2 hours as one episode. Anyway, I digress. And I have that pilot, and I have the unaired version of that pilot that Janet Leigh was in playing Colt's part-time boss, a bail bondswoman named Soapy. And Joanne Flug replaced her when ABC picked up the show as a regular series from Glenn A. Larson. For some reason, and I don't know why Janet Leigh wasn't chosen to be in the cast. Maybe she had a movie deal or she backed out, or maybe they made a change. But in my reel of the unaired pilot, she's in it. Paul Williams is in it, as he is in the aired version. He was in the aired version just as thoroughly as the unaired, but the unaired has different scenes, and the theme song is thankfully not sung by Lee Majors, as he sang it in all of the 5 seasons. Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell. You know, he wasn't the best singer. But in the unaired pilot, it's a studio singer, and it's a great version of that theme song. So anyway, it's a cool, rare print I got. Enough said. But Paul Williams is in it.
You know a lot of TV westerns and things like that from the 50s and 60s. Are you familiar with a lot of old TV shows?
Oh gosh, yes, I live for that stuff.
You know, I can't tell you what I did, what I had one time. I'm just going to shoot you the story. I lived in this neighborhood, and I lived on a cul-de-sac. There must have been 35 kids. There were baby boomers from age 1 to 9 back in the 50s. I was born in 48, so like in the mid-50s, I was 7 or 8. And I was walking down the street one day, down to my friend's house, and I saw a bunch of comic books in this trash can. These guys were throwing their trash out, and they had a bunch of comics and stuff.
Comic books. That's I live and breathe. And behind me are boxes and boxes of comic books. Please continue. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. These were all just various, funny animals and stuff like that, which are my favorite. I like the Dennis the Menace and Funny Animal, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry, and that stuff. Anyway, I found a box of stuff, and I carried this box home, and I held on to this box for years and years and years. It was a box of the original Zorro scripts by the head writer, Lowell Hawley. He was the head writer on Zorro, a TV show for Disney. It was every script and a synopsis of every script in one big folder that had every show in it and a little synopsis of what the show was about. I held on to those scripts for years and years and years. And one day I was moving and I threw them away. I threw them away. I can't believe I did that. I sold everything. I have collections and stuff all over the place. I never even opened them up, and I never even opened them up. I just had them in the box. I had them in my closet. They could have had notes from Disney written in there. There could have been all kinds of stuff in there that I never even looked at, and I just can't believe I did that.
Keep talking. I'm going to grab for the camera an artifact from Zorro I have in the other room, starring Guy Williams. Did you know Guy Williams' real name is Armando Catalina? Guy Williams, of course, is a screen name.
I heard that when I think I saw his son on a Disney show that was like from the archives or something. They had the Zorro suit that he wore, and his son talked about him in the movie. He just passed away, I think, in Argentina or somewhere.
In 1989, he passed away in Argentina, I believe, sadly.
Yeah, he was a big star in South America. Huge star. One of the big star here during this show, but I mean, he remained a huge star down there for years, and I love the show. I mean, I watched it every week all the time.
Well, I wish you had those scripts. His daughter, Toni, Toni is how you spell her first name. I bet she would love to. She may have them, though. I don't know. She may have them. I don't know.
She may have his. Who knows? But these were the head writer. It could have had notes from Disney in it and all kinds of stuff that you shouldn't have seen anywhere else. And I just, it kills me that they didn't do that. I'll tell you one script I have. I have a movie script from W.C. Field's movie Poppy. In 1933 or 34, I think, with his handwritten notes in it.
Wow. Well, I'm holding up for the camera James Tim Walker, who's on the line, who is a retired animator with Hanna-Barbera. You've worked with all the major studios. You've worked with Disney on DuckTales.
DuckTales and Darkwing Duck and Tailspin, Aladdin. I did 5 years at the House of Pain.
I'm honored to know you, man. I can't believe you're on my show.
Oh, come on. I'm serious. I put my pants on one leg at a time, 2 legs at a time.
And you've got a great support system. I've never met your other half. Or you might say your better half. I don't know. Never met your wife, but I know you've got to be so thrilled and proud of her, and that's got to be a great rock for you, man.
She's my angel. I met her in 1973. She was coming to the studio to pick up the guy she was married to at the time. They were from up north. I was in the same office with him. He said, "Hey, Tim, this is my wife, Susan." And I turned around and looked at her. I fell out of the chair. She was drop dead gorgeous. The most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. fell in love with her instantly and ached for her for years and years. This was 73. We got married in 2008. And she's been my staunch support and my angel, my everything. And I mean, she keeps me in tow when I get off kilter. And I just, you know, you have our ups and downs, but man, I am so blessed to have her in my life. Let me tell you.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, I am, boy. I am. I had to go. I had so much fun today. We went to the market, and I've rented a small wheelchair because I have that burning, you know, in the leg with the muscle spasms. Not that, but my leg was kind of hair, you know, maybe did a little too much the last couple of days. Anyway, I went around that Ralph's Market. I have fun ripping. I see kids, you know what I mean? And I come up to these people, this young kid and his wife, with this beautiful little boy with curly hair. Must have been maybe 3 years old. He was just as cute as could be. And I said, wow, what aisle did you find that on? I want one of those. And they laughed. And I said, man, you are a lucky man. This kid is so beautiful. I talk to people all the time. I tell people I haven't had this much fun since I was on a bicycle years ago as a kid. You know, riding around in that wheelchair through the market. I was causing havoc, and of course my wife gets embarrassed and she tries to run away from me. And then I get, hey, attention shoppers, we're looking for Susan. Is Susan in the store shoppers? And she really gets mad at me. Oh my God! But that's what I'm crazy. So I insist on having fun. You know, I mean, if you can't have fun, what's the point?
There you go. I should live out there, man. I'd fit right in Southern California.
Oh, you would, man. This is crazy. You know, all the fruits and nuts right out here. It's all here, buddy. We got it all. It's all good.
And then I could scrape together some funds and hire you to teach me how to paint.
Oh God, I couldn't teach anybody how to paint. You just do it. You just do it. Do it. If you always wanted to be, anybody out there always wanted to be an artist and was afraid to try, afraid to do it, just do it. Don't compare yourself to me, to Chance, anybody else. You do whatever you do. If you just make little squiggles until they get a little bigger, and a little better, and a little better. Just keep doing it. The joy of art is in the doing, not the final product. It's so good for your soul. It's so fulfilling for your soul. And what does it cost? A few bucks for a sketchbook? A few dollars for some soft pencils? Right. Just get them and do it. Just do it. And don't worry about what the outcome is, because it's your art. Whatever you do, it's all right. It's whatever you want to do. You don't compare it to anybody. Just do it.
We got to pay Nike a royalty every time we say, just do it. But it's true. It's true. Just get motivated. Make it happen.
Make it happen is right. Just make it happen and let's get with it here. I mean, come on. We got time. I want to see what you guys have got out there. There's good stuff all over the place. And I know you can do it, you know?
Right on. Now, this is going to air, by the way, tomorrow night at 7 on. You can stream it on fistfulofradio.com, and I will send you a link where you could stream it. That'll be at 4 o'clock your time tomorrow afternoon, just so you know.
Okay, great.
And it'll be on YouTube later tonight, and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, TuneIn, everywhere. I'll get the word out for you, brother.
Great.
As best I can.
Okay. You want a Bashy story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, anything that I can remember, or anything specific that you?
I want to know, what project or projects did you work on with him?
Okay. I first went to work for him in 1970, and the first thing I worked on him was Heavy Traffic, which was the second film after Fritz. And it was kind of an autobiography of him as a cartoonist, underground cartoonist growing up in New York. I really liked it. I loved it. And I like working for him because he's kind of he's a brash New Yorker, a lot of attitude. And me from Southern California is a laid-back kind of guy, I was just an assistant animator at the time, so I was a nobody in the studio. But there were animators like Andy Palawoda, who was a great Disney animator. They animated on Sleeping Beauty and 1001 Dalmatians and things like that. Animated on earlier stuff too, but never got credit because he didn't do enough animation to get a credit. But he was Willie Reitman's assistant. Willie Reitman was one of the Vinyls men. And if you're an assistant for one of those guys, you're a great artist. There's no question about it. Irv Spence, who was a great Tom and Jerry animator back in the day. Tom and Jerry, the 40s, he did a great Tom where Tom would zip off stage in a great effects line with all off stage and stuff. He created all that stuff. Ray Patterson was another great Tom and Jerry animator that I worked for there. Okay, let's see.
Can I say something real quick? About Tom and Jerry. I love Chuck Jones, but I wasn't a fan of the Tom and Jerry 1960s directed Chuck Jones. That's just me. I liked the classic MGM. That's just me.
Yeah, the classic. I did too. Those were great. There's no Tom and Jerry from the mid '40s to 44 to 49 were great. Were absolutely great. And the other ones were great too. They, and you know, as the years go by, there were more. You know, they make cuts and everything, and schedules got shortened, and money got harder to get. But those classic years, boy, they were great. Nothing could beat them. I mean, look how many times there was. There were 7, I think, 7 or 8. And I've got one hanging on my wall. Original background and cell setup from Heavenly Puss, 1948, I think it was.
Wow.
With Tom, conductor of the train, and I just love it. I just love it. So anyway,
I love some of the band cartoons just for the historical significance, and Tex Avery stuff. I love Droopy. Droopy's one of my favorite cartoon characters. Droopy the dog.
That's the photo I'm sending you is something that's from a Tex Avery cartoon.
Oh my Lord, I can't wait to see it. Hey, I will while I'm live, I'm going to play a clip, and then I will send you a private message on Facebook with my text line. As soon as we get off the line, I'll pull a. Well, I have something to say about Kate Jackson, the actress, and then when I get the clip going, then I'll be free to send you my number, my text line.
Okay, let's see.
Which I should have done before. Forgive me for that.
Oh, that's all right.
I wasn't withholding anything. I just being absent-minded is all.
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm absent-minded all the time. Who am I talking to, and who is this? Why am I on this?
Exactly.
Okay, I guess the ping pong stuff is probably one of the good things, although he remembers it another way than I do. Him and Irv Spence were playing ping pong. Ralph liked to play ping pong. He had a ping pong table in the studio. And Irv was an old ping pong player from MGM days years ago. And so they were playing ping pong one day, and I walked down and I was watching them, and somebody asked me if I wanted to play or something. I don't remember what it was, but I was watching them. And so I said, okay, I'll play. And so I played Irv, and I beat him. And I played him again, and I beat him. And I played him the third time. I think I beat him the third time. And then Ralph said, give me that paddle. Or Ralph was going to take care of me, right? So I played Ralph, and I beat him. And I played him again, and I beat him. I think I played him 4 or 5 times. I beat him all 4 or 5 times. He threw the thing there. Said, get back to work. He's done with it, right? Well, from that day on, it seemed to me like I played ping pong at least half a day or all day. Every day since that time. We played for days and days. I beat him every time. And I can't believe they couldn't tell what was happening. But the deal was, I was watching, I was all defense. All defense. I had no offense whatsoever. But I could make you hit the ball off the table. I could spin it, hit it into the net. I could do all these things that I learned from a guy.
Good serving. You could serve it and spin it.
Yeah,
And,
I could serve it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I had no offense at all. If I had to go offensively, I would have lost all the time. But so I didn't have to go into the offense at all.
Right. You're not slamming it, spiking it. Right.
No. So finally, and I had guys that were slamming balls at me that were coming at me like 45 miles an hour, ping pong balls. And I just put my paddle and I hit it back on the table. They'd freak out because I just hit it back on the table. So finally, I got so tired of it. I finally let Ralph beat me. I just said, I gotta let this guy beat me. I gotta get out. I'm sick of it. I can't stand it anymore. I finally let him beat me, and he goes, okay, get back to work. He ran to the phone. Irv Spence was working at home that day. And he goes, I finally beat that little bum. I finally beat him. I see him years later. So I worked with him on Hey Good Looking, and this was on Coon Skin and Hey Good Looking. Then we did this. Coon Skin became Street Fight, and there was all the big deal about the racial caricatures and things like that. But I really liked the film a lot. I really liked it. There was some good animation in it, and it was just, it was honest. It was just an honest film. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I saw him years later at a Comic-Con, and I had done a book, and he had done a book, so he autographed his book to me, and I autographed one to him. And I talked about the old ping pong days. Of course, he remembers it the other way, that he beat me all the time, and he finally got me with. And I just thought, I'm not going to argue this with Ralph. I'm just going to let him say that. That was it. That was it, Ralph. That was it. Fine. That was fine. I was just glad to see him. I really enjoyed working for him because he did full animation, He had great animators working there. He tried as best as he could to make it, but if you're not Walt Disney Productions with Walt Disney on the front of the title, you're very rarely getting anything out for longer than 2 weeks. And then but he tried. He really tried. He made an honest effort. And I enjoyed it. To me, it was the closest thing to being at one of the old studios in the 40s of anything I've ever encountered. So I enjoyed working for Ralph, and he's a rebel. He's a crazy guy. He'll speak his mind. But he's a good guy too. You do your work and get your work done. I was a pretty fast assistant. I was probably number 3 in the line. There were a couple people that were really old time pros that were really great, that were fast. I think I was the 3rd fastest one. Like my friend who was the production manager told me one time, and I enjoyed it. What can I tell you? I enjoyed it. So.
When I was researching him, I didn't realize he's Palestinian. Not that makes any difference. Just I didn't know that. And he did. Then he did Fritz the Cat and a lot of risque adult themed stuff, and then a lot of cool fantasy stuff, right? Like Wizards, of course, for 20th Century Fox, which Disney now owns.
Yeah, I was gone from there by then. I was working at I think I went to San Rio Productions. After that, they did Winds of Change or Metamorphosis, which came out for about 2 minutes and then really vanished. But it was a great place where they did full animation and had tons of money and had a
Yeah.
Cool.
Wasn't Rock and Rule a Bakshi production or no?
I don't know. I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think there was like American Pop and Wizards.
American Pop. That's what I get confused.
Yeah.
That's it. American Pop.
Yeah, I didn't work on that one. In fact, I probably didn't even see those ones afterwards. I think I saw Wizards. I liked Wizards. I enjoyed that.
That was cool.
But I didn't see some of those after that. But Ralph was a good guy, and there were other good guys there. There was a guy that I used to see was named Fred McManus, who was a key assistant from the days when a key assistant was you had to be a great artist to be a key assistant, because you really had to draw this stuff on model. But the animator worked so rough, you had to put it all on the model, put it on model. I used to sit in the back room with him, and we sat in a way back closet in the studio. And it was the old Ready Whip building. Ready Whip whipped cream that they used to sell in the stores, Ready Whip.
Okay, where are we going with this? You're talking about a closet, Ready Whip. I know you're happily married, but I'm teasing.
We wanted to be way in the back of the building. We didn't want to be up front when the tourists would come through and see people and everything. You go into the spyglasses and everybody. We got way in the back in this closet. It was big enough to put 2 big animation desks. There was plenty of room, so we just got way in the back there. And this guy found an old radio, and he would listen to I call it town and country music. It was country western music. He wore an Australian hat with a V-cut shirt. He was an older guy. He looked like he was right off of Hollywood Boulevard, with white patent leather go-go boots and maroon pants, and he was a wild man. And he listened to town and country music, and then he listened to the religious station after lunch. He'd have a bologna sandwich, and he'd get down at the BR Deli down the street, and have 1 can of beer, and he listened to religious station all afternoon long. He called them the Shouters. And people would shout, they're characters.
You're healed. Yeah.
Yeah, healed. Exactly. So anyway, that's I guess that's not the only one. That's the story that comes to mind the quickest. There's probably some other ones that are good ones, but
playing table tennis. That's great, man. I'm good at it. I love playing ping pong, man.
Oh yeah, I used to love it. That's kind of
I know, man. Oh, geez. Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe I might, as I get more used to this new device that's been me, and the new just being able to turn up the power and down the power stuff, I might be. Who knows? I may be back in a game one of these days. You and I'll play it. If I am, you and I'll play a first game together.
I love it, man. I'm going out there, man. And I want to mention, of course, your group with Woody. Have you seen any movies lately with the brother? No, the brother of the popcorn is, of course, your documentary. You're the Cliffhangers. That's the name of your exclusive movie watching club every other week.
We've seen one movie since the pandemic.
Right.
We got together for, but we probably won't get together for another month or so. I don't know. We're just kind of keeping it low key for now. But
well, yeah, because of the age group and stuff that's more susceptible to things. You wouldn't believe it. Here, I live actually. I could walk to where the Atlanta Braves play the World Series in a couple of hours. I don't have a ticket, but they have a common area, but it's going to be packed. But point being, Nobody's wearing a mask. I mean, we're wide open here. Just saying. I'm not making a statement. It's just a fact. I guess they've been vaccinated or whatever, but from what I've seen on television and walking around, it's packed. I mean, it's a party out here.
Oh, it's 22-7 now.
I could walk. If when they win tonight, I'm confident they'll win. I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood. I'm going to go down there. I'm not going to drink. I'm not. Higher power. I mean, I'm not in recovery, but I'm just saying I don't want to talk that way. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a blast and a half. So.
You might see my pumpkin head on national TV acting the fool sober.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's it. So now, where am I going to? Am I looking for Facebook? Is the one I'm gonna find
Facebook. Well, there's a group. I'm losing my voice. Nostalgic with a C, not nostalgia. Nostalgic Podblast. And I sent you my text number in a private message. It's already in your inbox just so I can see that awesome artwork.
In text messages.
No, and yeah, now we can text. That's my text line. It's a 404 area code phone number. I just sent you a private message on Facebook, and there it is. And while you were talking about Rakshi.
How do I get a private message on Facebook? I don't know that much about this.
Well, we've actually done that. We've communicated with each other through private message. You just go. You should see like a number, like it says. I don't know how many messages you have in your inbox, but it's like in the top center screen. You'll look for the red number, and you just click that, and then you'll see the names. I'm Chance Bartels, and you'll see where I sent you a message. I should be the message at the top, the last person that sent you a private message on Facebook.
Private message, Facebook.
It's right there. You've done it before. You've used it before. Private message, that service. Are you? Well, let me ask you this. God, this is kind of bad radio, but I mean, from my point of view, talking about this. But are you using a phone, and do you have the Facebook Messenger app, or are you using a computer?
I'm on an iPad.
Okay. Well, they've changed it. You have to have this damn app. Facebook Messenger, that's probably the problem. If you're on, like I'm using a laptop and a desktop, if you use that, you don't need the app. If you're using a phone or a pad, before you could communicate on a pad through without Facebook Messenger, but they changed it. So that's why you're not seeing it.
I gotta go to the App Store. Is that what I gotta do?
It's free. It's free, and you just download Facebook Messenger, and then you'll be good to go.
Facebook Messenger here. Where do I find Facebook Messenger? Facebook under search.
Yes. I would do a Google search to be safe, and just Google Facebook Messenger. Make sure it looks legit, and then you download it, and it takes just a couple seconds, and then you can do private messaging on your pad through Facebook. And but you have to do it on your phone too. Like it's per device.
Can I do it on phone and the laptop at the same time?
Yeah, on a laptop you don't have to do anything. If you're using a laptop or a desktop, you can see Facebook Messenger without an app required. It's right there. You just look for the red number. It's easy.
It says Facebook Messenger, and it says open.
Here, I'll just tell it to you. Can you write this down or remember it? I'll just tell it to you and make it easy. I don't mind putting it out there.
Here, Chance Bartel, my text line.
There it is. 404-944 blah 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 blah. That's it.
Okay, so I send the image to that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold on.
I can't wait to see it.
Just writing this down. Bear with me, everybody. I'm sorry I'm taking all this time.
That's okay. Am I allowed to hold up this artwork to the camera when I receive it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
Right now I have Don Diego, Guy Williams as Don Diego, and Zorro as alter ego, his heroic alter ego on camera. And I'll swap that out. That's a magnet I have on my main refrigerator. Anyway, because you were talking about Guy Williams Zorro scripts earlier.
Right. I gotta go to I gotta go to text messages. Let's see. Text messages. Okay, I gotta get the picture. Picture. Okay, let's see. That's not it. Let's see here. Okay, see. Messages.
Well, I'll keep looking for it. I have to get ready for trick or treaters soon. I'm not. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sorry. I've done something to the line. Hello?
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
You got me? Okay. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Loud and clear. This is the best audio I've had of you, and this is I guess the third time I've interviewed you. Had the pleasure of interviewing you, and it sounds great. I'm listening through the board and through my headphones. So yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Let me just. Why can't I get this doggone thing?
The fourth time I said corrected. Fourth time we've talked. I love it.
You know, I don't know why I can't get all my pictures up here.
Well,
I'll find it and I'll send it to you. You can make a call. How late are you gonna be on till 4?
well, you're in, of course, Southern California at 6:20 my time. I have a lot of material I've prepared, and I haven't even scratched the surface, so I'll be on for a while, at least a couple more hours. I'm gonna listen for trick or treaters, but the game starts in just over 90 minutes, so I better get hustling.
Okay. Well, here it is. Here it is. Let me see if I can pull this up. This picture. Why can't I pull this picture up? I'm gonna have to play with it. All right, I'm gonna try to send it to you while you're there.
Cool.
And we'll see. If not, I'll get it to you another day.
Thank you, James Tim Walker. His book.
Is that everything you want from me? Oh God, he could work a lot.
Yes, sir. Shaken Not Broken is your book. It's got awesome artwork in it. An Artist's Journey Through Hell. James Tim Walker, thank you for being a friend of the Nostalgic Podblast. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
My pleasure, champ. Nice talking to you. We'll talk again soon, pal, okay?
I'm looking forward to it. We'll do a video thing with Al Hardy next.
All right, buddy. Take care. I'll listen to you.
God bless you, man.
All right, pal. Love you. Take care.
Love you too. Bye. All right, we were talking about Kate Jackson, and James Tim Walker's just, whoa, sorry about that, a prince of a guy, and he's so talented artist. Wow, that was pretty cool talking with him all the way from Hollywood. And that's where he's born. He was born and raised in Hollywood, California. And he's told a story, you may have missed it real briefly. When he was a child, he would go to Hanna-Barbera Studios on his bike, and he would dumpster dive and find cells, discarded cells, which is artwork, original artwork for shows like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Top Cat. And he got yelled at by Mr. Hanna. Said, "Hey, you knucklehead, get out of that trash can." And years later, James Tim Walker would work for that very studio, Hanna-Barbera Studios. Posted a picture in our Facebook group of lots of Hanna-Barbera characters right there in the Nostalgic Podblast Facebook group. Posted that Saturday morning because I don't know about you, but Saturday morning, of course, is the best time of the week when you're a kid. And the cartoons made it special. But we were talking before he called about Kate Jackson, who turned 73 back on October 29th. She was born in 1948, Birmingham, Alabama. And I was talking about a TV movie from 1993. I'm not going to repeat everything I said, but continuing, because I think this movie is really wild. So Lori Loughlin, back in 93, she was still doing Full House. She was still acting on that show. She did this movie for Lifetime where she played a mother of 2 kids, and she's giving birth to her 3rd child. And when she wakes up, she's told that her baby was stillborn, which isn't the case. And Kate Jackson plays a woman with a barren uterus. She cannot have a baby, but that's giving away part of the surprise ending. That's not known. And she's masquerading as a nurse, and she steals her baby. And this movie is really well done. It's based on a true story. So anyway, all right, the doctor thinks, because of the level of drugs in her body after labor, he suspects that Lori Loughlin's character abused pills, and that caused the baby to be stillborn. Little does Jane know, the mother who just gave birth, that Rita, the nurse, with the help of her teenage son, Patrick, played by an actor named Jonah Blackman, kidnapped her baby daughter and switched records between a stillborn child and a healthy child. That's why the doctor thinks the baby is stillborn, to make it appear as if Jane's baby was stillborn. Rita faked a pregnancy for months to keep her drifting lover, Frank, from leaving her. When Frank, who is married to another woman, shows his disappointment that their child is not a boy, Rita responds in anger and immediately sets out to somehow get a baby boy as well. Sometime later, she announces she's pregnant again and poses under the assumed name of Elaine Crisp to take care of a pregnant woman who will soon deliver a boy. When Rita, played by Kate Jackson, finds out that the woman knows about her true identity, she instead induces the labor of a 30-year-old woman named Teresa Richland, played by Elizabeth Daly, in her home and cuts her throat and steals her baby. Psycho alert. Meanwhile, Jane becomes convinced that her baby wasn't stillborn, but instead of receiving support, her relatives and best friend Sharon believe she's addicted to drugs and is suffering from a depression and suggest to her that she visit a psychiatrist. Even though she is estranging herself from everyone she knows, Jane continues to find out the truth and slowly recollects all of the memories of her labor. In the hospital, she runs into Nurse Ramsey, who helped her with her labor before Rita, played by Kate Jackson, stepped in and stole the baby. Ramsey admits that she remembers that her baby was alive and healthy when she last checked up on her, but she's too afraid to support her theories. Therefore, Jane hires attorney Gail Huddle, played by Penny Johnson, to sue the hospital, only to find out her case is hopeless since her records have gone missing due to Rita, played by Kate Jackson. Back in the hospital, Detective Null, played by Eric LaSalle, who we first saw in the first Coming to America movie, and he's in Logan, the R-rated Wolverine movie right before Disney took over that 20th Century Fox put out. It's a really dramatic Marvel movie. The only R-rated one that's serious, because Deadpool's a comedy, it was also R-rated. But anyway, back in the hospital, Detective Null, played by Eric LaSalle, suspects Rita as Teresa's killer, the woman whose throat she slit because Teresa's boyfriend, Tom Burke, identified her as her midwife. After giving him a false alibi, she instructs Patrick over the phone to give Null the same story if he is questioned. Nevertheless, Null instructs an examination, during which her doctor concludes that she had a hysterectomy over 10 years ago and cannot give birth to children. Afterwards, Rita admits to the murder of Teresa and having stolen 2 babies, but refuses to tell who the first baby's mother is. Nonetheless, Null locates Jane and happily reunites her with her daughter. The true story behind this movie is told in the non-fiction book titled Masking Evil by Carol Ann Davis, published by Summersdale in 2016. Damn, that was a compelling movie for a Lifetime movie. I love that movie, and I've been trying to find it because it was just so gripping. That's one of my favorite performances by birthday gal from October 29th, Kate Jackson, playing just a totally psychotic, desperate woman. And of course, Kate Jackson is best known for her television role, as I mentioned previously, of Sabrina Duncan in the series Charlie's Angels from 1976 to 79 when she left the show. Disappointed because that's why she couldn't act in Kramer versus Kramer, playing the role that went to Meryl Streep. They wouldn't let her out of the contract. Same thing happened to Lee Majors on Midnight Cowboy. Al didn't believe me, but he didn't believe that the Michael Myers mask is a Captain Kirk William Shatner mask, and he believes now. But that was written for Lee Majors, but he couldn't get out of acting in his contract with 4-Star Productions' Big Valley. And it went to John Voight, the father of Angelina Jolie. They're estranged. She doesn't want anything to do with him. But after Charlie's Angels, Kate Jackson played Amanda King in the series Scarecrow and Mrs. King from 1983 to 1987. But again, I liked her in The Rookies before Charlie's Angels when she had that beautiful longer hair. Here's a clip of the theme tune to The Rookies. And I have some information about The Rookies. You don't see that much anymore in reruns on classic TV. Where the hell is it? And it was a police drama that ran on ABC starting on Monday of all days, September 11th, back in 1972 at 8 p.m. And it ran until Tuesday, June 29th, 1976, pretty much when Charlie's Angels began. It began in September 76, but it was a TV movie. They aired in March 76, so it all was concurrent. Where is that clip? Here's what the theme song of The Rookies sounded like. I know most of you have never heard it. And in the opening credits, and it's really fun. In the opening credits, it shows Police Academy. This is in 1972 to 76. It looks just like the Police Academy and was the same external exterior set used for the Charlie's Angels opening credits. Once upon a time, there were 3 little girls that went to the Police Academy. It says Police Academy, real nondescript. Same thing in the opening to The Rookies. Here's what the theme sounded like. I defy anyone to tell me that Kate Jackson did not look attractive in The Rookies. Before she changed her look for the worse, but she didn't play a police officer in that show. She played a registered nurse named Jill Danko. Farrah Fawcett would also play a character named Jill Monroe, opposite Kate Jackson a few months later in Charlie's Angels. Kate Jackson hosted the 13th episode of season 4 of Saturday Night Live, which aired in February 1979. During her monologue, Kate Jackson referred to being an NBC page 10 years earlier where she led tours of the studio. At the beginning of the 3rd season of Charlie's Angels, Kate Jackson was offered the Meryl Streep role in the feature film Kramer vs. Kramer in 1979. That was when the movie was released, so it would have been shot sometime in late 78. But she was forced to turn it down because Aaron Spelling, executive producer of Charlie's Angels, told her that the show's shooting schedule could not be rearranged to give her time to do the film. At the end of the 3rd season, Kate Jackson left Charlie's Angels saying, quote, "I served it well, and it served me well. Now it's time to go," unquote. And Aaron Spelling cast Shelley Hack, Charlie, from the model in the Charlie fragrance TV ads. Anyone old like me remembers that, as a replacement. Spelling cast Shelley Hack as Kate Jackson's replacement. The film roles for Kate Jackson include a movie called Making Love from 1982, which starred Harry Hamlin, who we'll talk about later. His birthday was in early November. And Loverboy in 1989. Never heard of it, never seen it. And she's a 3-time Emmy Award nominee and 4-time Golden Globe Award nominee. Kate Jackson began her career in the late 1960s in summer stock before landing her first major television roles. And I did not know this. In Dark Shadows. We're coming off Halloween. Remember Dark Shadows? That was like a vampire videotaped soap opera. But I did not know that Kate Jackson landed her first major role in Dark Shadows from 1970 to 1971, which led up to The Rookies, and then The Rookies in 1972 to 76. Kate Jackson also appeared in the film Night of the Dark Shadows. The huge success of her role as Sabrina Duncan on Charlie's Angels saw her appear on the front cover of Time magazine alongside Farrah Fawcett and Jacqueline Smith in a classic cover, while her role as Mrs. King won her Germany's Bravo Golden Otto Award for Best Female TV Star 3 times between 1986 and 1988. Kate Jackson then continued to star in numerous TV movies, including Quiet Killer in 1992, Empty Cradle that I just described in great length ad nauseum, which I love that movie, and Satan's School for Girls in the year 2000. And she also did a remake of that 1973 movie of the same name, Satan's School for Girls, which he also starred. So, equal time for Kate Jackson, since I ran an interview with her former fellow angel, Jacqueline Smith, last time. Here is a very brief interview from way back, over about 40 years ago, of Kate Jackson in a rare unaired interview from 1982. Let me find that. And I have got to pee like a racehorse. This coffee is going through me big time. TMI, TMI, TMI. Let me see how long this interview is. Oh, God. 5 minutes. Perfect. I don't think I'll play
was very successful in terms of ratings. Possibly part of the audience doesn't know you produced it, that it was your production company. Could you talk a little bit about your wanting to produce and what you might be doing with your company?
The company will become active again this summer. I worked with the director on a television movie, well, it must be a year and a half ago, and we have a project that we intend to do. We'll probably shoot it in the fall. Topper was something that I loved. It was a movie that I loved and wanted to do again. I was doing Charlie's Angels at the time, and I didn't get to make some of the decisions. And I think it could have worked a little better, but it was a lot of fun to do.
And to watch.
Thank you. And the concept of producing, and I guess in the pure sense of the word, really creating, putting all the people together to create something, is most appealing.
Often actresses get quoted, and then the quotations follow them all the rest of their lives. As if they couldn't change
which
their
one is, what's this going to be?
Well, I'm change it if you want. But there was a point when you left Charlie's Angels where you said that you couldn't develop as an actress in television, and so that's why you were leaving television. You still feel
I
that
didn't
way?
say, I don't think I ever said in television. And that's why I was leaving television, because I don't turn my back on television at all. It's too powerful and too important, and I don't look down my nose at it either. In that particular television series, I had gone as far as I could go. I was a little bit frustrated because it seemed to me that the scripts were going down in their level of intelligence. I don't know
I'll tell you why I particularly wondered about it. I'd also read that you were actually encouraging Jane Fonda to develop her own interest in television. Is that right?
Well, we talked one day, and she told me something that I didn't know, and I tried to get her to go ahead and do something that she wanted to do for television, which I think she is going to do now. But she told me, she said, for instance, take a Thursday night at 8 o'clock. You've got 3 networks. The network that is in 3rd position in that 8 o'clock time slot, she said, do you know more people will have seen that show that's in 3rd position than will ever see Coming Home, her movie, in worldwide release until it's on television. It's just so powerful.
Oh, yeah. You worked on television and in film, actually, with some of the really great film actresses, Gloria Swanson, Lillian Gish, now Wendy Hiller, and Making Love. Is there anything particular you could say you'd learned from any or all of them?
If you're looking on camera, here's Baby, my bunny rabbit.
I guess it would be with the right attitude and with the proper discipline, one can have a very long, very lovely career.
I better put you up here. That's terrifying. I'm going to feed you now because you're being good. Baby!
Well, in Making Love, which was probably going to give you the start of a very long career in film, there are sections of it where you're talking directly to maybe the camera, maybe a character. What I want to know is, who did you think you were talking to in those sequences?
I thought probably who I actually was talking to was Arthur Hiller, because Arthur was sitting next to the camera, asking me questions, and I had to use the words that were written to answer his questions. And he'd ask different questions, but I still had the same words to answer. I thought that probably Claire was talking to a therapist. I don't know, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, I don't know, but probably a therapist, as opposed to a friend or or whatever.
Do you think that one of the reasons in the film that Zach discovers that he's gay is that Claire is concentrating on her career too much?
No, I don't
There's
think
no
so.
kind of reaction to femme liberation in any
No,
sense.
I really don't think so.
Uh-huh.
I think that he had worked so hard to become a doctor and to establish his own practice that he really hadn't gotten a chance to look around and see who he was. And once he had completed medical school and his internship and his residency, or I may have that backwards, and established his practice, he finally got a break, and he got a minute to say, wait a minute, what's this? And he really didn't have a chance to before. I don't really think it had anything to do with the fact that his wife had her own career.
Uh-huh. Well, the film works. We thank you for the film and also for doing the interview.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kate Jackson, everybody. Perfect timing. I don't know if you were watching, if you're listening on fistfulofradio.com, it won't mean anything to you.
I'm sorry to
but,
interrupt your video.
But I held up this bunny that I rescued. I've named Baby, who the Georgia House Rabbit Society, great people. I just showed them pictures when I picked up food and supplies and hay. They eat hay. They think she's probably about a year old. I'm assuming it's a female. I don't really know for sure, but I haven't really been looking, if you know what I'm saying. I'm going to let the expert do that. But happy 73rd birthday to Kate Jackson. Next, Ralph Bakshi, the animator that James Tim Walker was just talking about, playing table tennis, ping pong in the vernacular with, turned 83 back on October 29th in what's now known as Israel. He was born in 1938, which was a Saturday, and he's a cutting-edge director and a true animation pioneer, just like James Tim Walker is. He's a Palestinian-born American director of animated and live-action films. In the 1970s, Ralph Bakshi established an alternative to mainstream animation through independent and adult-oriented productions. Between 1972 and 2015, Ralph Bakshi directed 10 theatrically released feature films, 6 of which he wrote. He has been involved in numerous television projects as director, writer, producer, and animator. At the age of 15, after discovering Gene Burns' Complete Guide to Cartooning at the public library, Ralph Bakshi took up cartooning to document his experiences and create fantasy-influenced artwork. He stole a copy of the book and learned every lesson he could from it. During his teenage years, Ralph Bakshi took up boxing while attending Thomas Jefferson High School. He took little interest in academics, spending most of his time focusing on broads, mouthing off, and doodling. That's his quote. After participating in a food fight, we'll talk about a big food fight scene later in the show, and being caught smoking, Ralph Bakshi was sent to the principal's office. Believing Bakshi was unlikely to prosper at Thomas Jefferson, the principal transferred him to Manhattan's School of Industrial Art. In June 1956, Ralph Bakshi graduated from the school with an award in cartooning. Beginning his career at the Terry Toons Television Cartoon Studio as a cell polisher, Bakshi was eventually promoted to animator and then director. He moved to the animation division of Paramount Pictures in 1967 and started his own studio, Bakshi Productions, in 1968. Through producer Steve Krantz, Krantz, Bakshi made his debut feature film, Fritz the Cat, released in 1972. It was based on the comic strip by Robert Crumb and was the first animated film to receive an X rating from the Motion Picture Association of America and is the most successful independent animated feature of all time. Over the next 11 years, Ralph Bakshi directed 7 additional animated features. He is well known for such films as Wizards, that we talked about, released in 1977 from 20th Century Fox, The Lord of the Rings in 1978, American Pop in 1981, as James Tim Walker said, and Fire and Ice in 1983. In 1987, Ralph Bakshi returned to television work, producing the series Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures. Here I come to save the day. Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures, which ran for 2 years. After a 9-year hiatus from feature films, Ralph Bakshi directed Cool World in 1992, which was largely rewritten during production, received poor reviews, consequently being his last theatrical feature film to date. Ralph Bakshi returned to television with the live-action film Cool and the Crazy in 1994 and the anthology series Spicy City in 1997. During the 2000s, Ralph Bakshi focused largely on fine art and painting, and in 2003, he co-founded the Bakshi School of Animation with his son Eddie and with Jess Gorel. Bakshi has received several awards for his work, including the 1980 Golden Gryphon for Lord of the Rings at the Giffani Film Festival, the 1988 Annie Award for Distinguished Contribution to the Art of Animation, and the 2003 Maverick Tribute Award at the CineQuest Film Festival. I wrote this not knowing that James Tim Walker would be on the Podblast today. I wrote in my little script here, makes me think of our friend of the Podblast, James Tim Walker. Here's his book, which I held up earlier. I'll hold it up now. Shaken Not Broken, An Artist's Journey Through Hell. There you go. And it's an awesome book loaded with artwork. Birthdays back on October 30th. Happy 76th birthday to Henry Winkler. Best known as the Fonz, hey, on Happy Days. Now, did you know that Henry Winkler could not even ride a motorcycle? The crew cheated the motorcycle riding shots you saw in some of the opening credits by towing the motorbike with a truck. Can you say poser? I knew that you could. He says that himself, so I'm not making fun. He's a nice guy. I met him, and hold up, I posted it on the Podblast page. I met him in December 2010, got an autograph still, and he was super. And I dropped a $20 bill, and he was honest. Not that he would take any money like that. He's well off, and he's honest. But he goes, Chance, you dropped something down there. He was honest. You could have just kept it. But I've held it up before. My autograph picture of the Fonz. Very, very nice guy. So anyway, he could not ride a motorcycle. He was born Tuesday, October 30th, 1945 in West Side, Manhattan, New York. The legendary pop culture icon Henry Winkler donated his character Arthur Herbert Fonzarelli's wardrobe, the classic black leather jacket, to the National Museum of History and Technology's History of Entertainment collection. The character of the Fonz never engaged in physical violence on the sitcom. He talked tough. He projected violence, but he never engaged in it. Winkler was in his 30s when he played the role, yet the Fonzie was a teenager, originally in high school. Happy Days aired on ABC TV from Tuesday, January 15th, 1974, until Thursday, July 12th, 1984 on ABC. Always in the same time slot. They didn't move it around. Same night, same time slot. 255 half-hour episodes were produced, as well as several spin-offs. The first 2 seasons of Happy Days were filmed, and it used the Bill Haley and his Comets hit song Rock Around the Clock as the main title theme. That song was released back on Thursday, May 20th, 1954. In season 3 of Happy Days, the sitcom was overhauled and was then videotaped, not filmed, and videotaped before a live studio audience, and a new TV theme song titled Happy Day, Sunday, Monday, written by Norman Gimbel and Charles Fox, took over as the opening theme and closing theme. Moving on, actor Harry Hamlin turned 69 on October 30th. He was born Tuesday, October 30th, 1951 in Pasadena, California. He's best known for his role in L.A. Law as Michael Cusack. And that show starred lovely Susan Day, previously Lori Partridge on The Partridge Family. Why isn't that show seen anywhere? It has massive demand. And like The Fall Guy, which turns 40 November the 4th, only season 1 is available for home video. And Fall Guy had 5 seasons and only season 1 was released. Now, is it streaming on Peacock? That's the NBC streaming service. Well, Actually, it's Comcast Xfinity, which owns NBC, but Peacock is usually loaded with NBC shows. I'm not sure. I should have researched that. I do know that like I just said, season 1 only was released on DVD, but also Harry Hamlin acted in this film, which I like. And Al and Tom, when we saw it at a big theater in downtown Atlanta, the Plaza Theater, they hated it, but I love this movie. This stars Sir Laurence Olivier as well as Ursula Anderson. We'll talk about her in a second. The first Bond girl from Dr. No, of course. They just play some clips from Clash of the Titans, the original, not the remake.
Weapons of divine.
Hang on, back it up. Here it is.
Provide him with suitable weapons. Weapons of divine temper. A helmet, a shield, a sword.
Find your destiny. And fulfill your destiny.
The myth. The magic. The mystery. The majesty.
Destroy Argos!
Let loose the last of the Titans. Metro Goldwyn Mayer presents Clash of the Titans. The good.
Oh, shit.
The evil. The danger. The daring.
How may a mortal man face and defeat the Kraken?
Clash of the Titans. The combat. The courage. The splendor. The spectacle. Clash of the Titans. Starring Harry Hamlin as Perseus, Judy Bowker as Andromeda, Burgess Meredith, Maggie Smith, Ursula Andress, Claire Bloom, Sean Phillips, Flora Robeson, and Laurence Olivier as Zeus. Before history, beyond imagination. Clash of the Titans.
Rated PG, yet it had nudity in it. Yeah, Judy Bowker was a British actress, and she was so lovely in that movie. She was the love interest of Perseus. Anyway, Clash of the Titans. If you're watching on Facebook Live in the Nostalgic Podblast group, I put up a set of The Honeymooners because at the top of the show I played a funny bit of audio from live in 1954, October 2nd, 1954, of a skit from the Jackie Gleason show, a Honeymooner skit called Game Called On Account of Marriage. And on YouTube, they charge a good bit of money, MPI home video, to see that, but you can buy this DVD set. I got it back in 2011. It was an anniversary set. It has all the kinescopes which were filmed monitors back then. It was all live in those days. It's a great set, and that's where I got the clip from MPI home video. But continuing on, and we're almost done with Harry Hamlin here. I just wanted to play the intro to LA Law. Sexy, sexy. You can't see it. Good show, huge demand for it. So Harry Hamlin in more recent days For his recurring role on the AMC cable TV drama series Mad Men, Harry Hamlin received a Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. Also in the Showtime hit Shameless, Harry Hamlin appeared. Check out his list of babes in his personal life. He was partnered with Ursula Andress, whom he met on the set of Clash of the Titans in 1979, and they were together until 1983. He was married to Nicolette Sheridan from 1991 to 92. Didn't last long. I think Michael Bolton swept her off her feet. And then now she's currently married to, I'll do this for the camera, Lisa Rinna. She has terrible fish lips. She's an attractive lady, but she's had some bad. Look like this. She just looks awful. Since 1997, they're still married, among his other dishes. Moving on October 30th, Grace Slick turned 82. She was born Grace Barnett Wing, and she hatched on Monday, October 30th, 1939, in Highland Park, Illinois. And, of course, she was involved with Jefferson Airplane, which became Jefferson Starship. Thanks, Lost in Space, for that term Starship. Before Star Trek, I might add, a year before, it was a Lost in Space thing, but long before Star Trek and Starships. That came from Lost in Space. But Grace Slick was a key figure in San Francisco's early psychedelic music scene of the mid-1960s. With a music career spanning 4 decades, Grace Slick first performed with the Great Society, but is best known for her work with Jefferson Airplane and its successor bands Jefferson Starship and just Starship. Slick and Jefferson Airplane first achieved fame with their 1967 album Surrealistic Pillow, which included the top 10 Billboard hits White Rabbit and Somebody to Love. I like the version Jim Carrey did in the movie Cable Guy, that song, the cover. Anyway, I digress. She provided the lead vocals on both of those tracks. With Starship, she sang co-lead for 2 #1 hits, We Built This City and Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now, in 1985. She would also release 4 solo albums. Grace Slick retired from music in 1990, but continues to be active in the visual arts field. I'm going to play a little interview from way back in 1983 of Grace Slick on Late Night with David Letterman from way back, like I said, January 10th, 1983. I think this is an interesting interview. I always say that. I'm biased, though. Let's see. If this is mono, I have another clip of her with Letterman I'll play. Let's see here. Come on, don't let me down.
My first guest, this is exciting, joined a band called the Jefferson Airplane in 1965. She has been in and out of the band since then, and is currently singing with the latest incarnation of that group, the Jefferson Starship.
I bet she was in and out.
Here we're going to see a Grace Slick in action, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at the monitors.
Well, that won't do us any good. I better talk over it in case I get in trouble with the bots. Let me fast forward a little bit. Go Braves! Atlanta Braves World Series. Yes, sir. Blam, blam, blam.
Please welcome Grace Slick.
We're having a good time now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're having too much fun, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe a little too much fun. You look good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. Let me ask you about the song or the video that we saw and heard there, Out of Control. Is this in any way similar to what your life may have been at one time?
May have been.
May have been, yeah.
And still is, friends. It's like that.
Really?
Yes. Paul Kantner wrote that song,
Mhm.
but he knows. His life is like that. The other fellow you saw in the band, Pete Sears, his life is like that. That's our story.
Out of control, but in a friendly, good kind of way, or?
Yeah, well, you notice when we fall down, we smile.
But now let me ask specifically about you. I can remember hearing stories about you. You used to drink pretty good.
No, the point for stopping is that I didn't drink real good. If I drank good, I'd still be drinking.
Oh, that's right. I see.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase it. You had a reputation for consuming a lot of alcohol.
And not handling it very well.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, those days are behind you?
Well, that's when I talked to the pre-interview person on the show. They said, well, the other day, and they were being funny, so-and-so and so-and-so didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I always show up. That's the problem. sometimes they'd rather that I never passed out either.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of those kind that cry and pass out. Can't remember ever passing out. People were praying that I would pass out. Down on their knees. When is she going to go home?
Oh.
You know?
So you were a real enthusiastic drinker. I mean.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But I have to correct you again. I was the only one who was enthusiastic about it.
I see. I see. How long a period out of your life did this take?
I would say about 57 years.
No. Now you're not drinking now, are you? Yeah. Can you give us an episode or two, drinking related, that made you think it's time to stop this?
No. It was everybody else's idea.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Is it true that you were once arrested for drinking and driving, and you weren't even driving?
I've been arrested for drinking and driving 3 times, and I've never been in the car. But they don't have a number or a thing on their little books for drunk mouth. See, it's either assault if you hit or something, that's assault, or if you're in a car weaving around, then that's drunk driving, but they don't have a mid-range thing. And police do not like it when you speak curtly, which is putting it mildly.
So somebody else was driving. And
No, I was driving, but the car was always stopped, and once the car was blowing up because I had forgot to put oil in it, and I was going 120. Isn't that dumb? I mean, you know, that's dumb and drunk. 125 miles an hour, and when you go 125 miles an hour and no oil in the cars blow up. They do that. So there was smoke coming out of the engine. I mean, the thing was going crazy. So I pulled it over, parked it, got out of the car, and was standing there watching it. A Volkswagen went by and said, "Would you like me to get the highway patrol?" I said, "Yes, thank you very much." They went and got the highway patrol. The highway patrol comes back. A large police officer gets out of the car and says, "Okay, what's going on here?" And I said, "I'm having a goddamn party." That's what's going on. What do you mean? There's smoke coming out of my car. What are you asking me? What's going? So they take me right down to the Civic Center.
Yeah,
always.
you're done. Yeah.
Always. You don't talk. What you do is you cry and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to put oil in the car." And, "Oh, officer, would you?" And I never did that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're not doing that anymore, because that's nothing really we should be making fun about.
I don't know, it isn't. And I think drunk driving is real stupid. If you want to get dumb, stay out of a car.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Well, we have many other things to talk about with you.
Oh, good.
And we'll no, seriously. And we will. We'll be right back with Grace Slick. Grace Slick is here. Miss Deborah Sue Maffett, current Miss America, will be joining us. Now tell me about the band now.
Which band? Yours? They're a funny bunch of guys.
Yeah, they're terrific folks. Your band, now, are you still having difficulties with police officers?
Do I take these off? Yes, I do.
What do you want to do? Sure, take them off if you like. Yeah.
Now I can't see anything, though. That's the problem. Now what?
I asked you a question.
Oh.
Do you ever have any trouble with the law now? I mean, how long is
No, you'd be surprised how they don't arrest you if you're not drunk.
No, I mean...
You can't just walk up to somebody and say, "You're coming down to the Civic Center now," because then you can say, "What for? I'm going to call my lawyer," and what's more, you remember his number and everything.
Yeah. And you're probably less prone to mouth off under that condition,
That's
right?
true. When I look at police, I go by slowly and don't say things.
So you're pretty much a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, Dave.
Now,
we're having fun now.
We're
having fun now, but we won't if you keep talking along these lines.
As a unit, you and the band, do you guys ever have any close calls with the authorities? Not you personally.
Well, now see, what I like about this now is that I'm the one who stands back and watches other people. We had to leave the state in the middle of the night, the whole band crew and everything, in funny secret little cars and hiding and stuff because of Paul. So I rather like that. I love it when it's somebody else's fault.
What was the circumstance there that caused you to steal away in the middle of the night?
The security guards in the front were doing, this is an old rock and roll thing that's gone on forever with our band for some reason. If Paul sees security people beating up on the kids, he leaps off the stage and says several things to them. Now what happened is that, and nobody saw it, I didn't see it, and nobody saw whether, he has a big guitar, and those are very thick and very heavy. So if you turn around very quickly, which he might have done, he might have come into contact with a police officer with one of those large guitars.
Might have.
Now listen, people are applauding this anarchy.
I said he might have, because I really don't know.
Oh, he might have.
He's clever. See, he got arrested before for marijuana, and he says to this day that it was a Camel. To the band, he says that was a Camel. Okay.
Camel cigarette.
Yeah, the band wouldn't want to think badly of Paul.
No.
Probably be really disappointed if it was anything other than that.
No, he doesn't fool around. He doesn't even tell the band what he's doing, which is why our music sounds the way it does.
Wait a minute. Now,
Hi, Paul. Hi, Paul.
Now
Which
what-
camera's Paul on? Hi,
Which,
Paul.
you're speaking of Paul Kantner.
Yeah.
Now, which city in which state was this?
Always in Ohio.
In Ohio. Which city
Every
in
time
Ohio?
we go to Ohio, well, sometimes Akron, sometimes Toledo. I mean, it's just Ohio. Every time we go there, somebody mouths off, and we get sort of kicked out or put into jail for a variety of reasons.
I don't know why that would be.
Even now that we're old, we still get.
How old are you?
I'm 43.
Really? Now, how does that? You brought it up, so you must have feelings about getting old.
Oh,
God,
it's terrible. See, you're supposed to have really good feelings, like you get wise and everything, and know I'm really enjoying it now. And I hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to sound like I'm well-adjusted, but I'm not. I don't like the idea. The only thing I like about it is that you do get a little bit more together in your head.
Yeah.
A little.
That's better.
But apart from that, everything else falls apart.
Yeah.
And it keeps falling apart, and it keeps getting worse. It doesn't ever get better.
Well, I didn't mean to imply that you were, getting old, but you, in fact, are older than you used to be.
I'm older.
I don't know how I do it either.
I'm old. You don't need to say it. I'm older than everybody in this room.
No, you're not. And you seem to be, well, I don't want to say that either. That would have been stupid.
Go ahead. Tell me I look real good for my age.
I was going to say, you seem to be, you look great, is what I was going to say.
That's
We
true,
got to
but
go
wait,
away for...
it's all propped up. They pull pins back here after the
Not
performance.
true. We'll be back with Grace Slick after station identification.
3 segments? Wow. All right, I think that might be enough. What I may have to do is, because I want to watch the Braves win again, I'm going to rewatch the final game of the World Series and watch the Braves win it all. So I may stop the birthdays. I only have one more for October 30th. When we get to the Halloween birthdays, I'll come back after the game. You may not be up, but you can watch it on demand, and I'll just do this as like a 2-parter. Yes, I think that's what I'm going to have to do. Let me see if this is worth listening to real quick. Again, it's Grace
Let me introduce my first guest tonight.
February 6th, 1984.
Both on and off the concert stage, we're delighted to have her with us tonight. This is her latest solo album entitled Software. Let me get it for you. There it is, Software. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to this program, Grace Slick. Grace.
You're like, why, Chance? Why? You just agonized us with the long interview of Grace Slick. What's so special about her? What are you playing this for? You just said you're running out of time.
How you doing?
That was very nice.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You moved your chair. You're going to tumble out of there. We'll have OSHA in here if anybody gets hurt. One more. You got to come up. One more. Come on. There you go. All right. Is that uncomfortable for you?
Well, you're way over here.
No, I'll do the moving around. I'll be all right. This will work out fine. There.
Hey,
Nah, I got to cut this. I thought this might be
interesting.
interesting. I haven't heard the whole thing in a long time.
Room service in my hotel this morning, and they said, "What for?"
Yeah, that's probably the reaction you get.
I didn't want to tell them.
No, I don't blame you.
No.
How you been?
Okay.
Yeah. How's your daughter?
13. That says it all.
Is that,
Right there.
I don't have a 13-year-old. Is that good or bad?
Well, what
Not
we've
yet.
done is we've
Harry.
repapered the entire
have a
room,
son.
her bedroom, with Duran Duran stuff.
There you go.
There's no wallpaper left anymore. It's all Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's by choice. Now, what was she? What did the room look like a year ago?
Looked like a regular suburban room.
Uh-huh.
I have a very regular kind of house. It's so that...
Where do you live?
In Marin County in California.
It's a beautiful part of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is pretty.
Dave used to live out
Now
there.
what?
Oh, I don't know. I thought
In the 70s.
I thought you were going to tell us about your house. I'm sorry.
Hey, David,
Yeah.
what have you been doing lately?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well,
Any big deals or anything?
no. Over the weekend, you know what my hobby is? I sack my own groceries.
All So there's Grace Slick. I've got to cut this short, but I like the 1985 hit song "We Built This City." I can't play music here, damn it, or I'd play a little sample of it. It's not like radio where you can get away with 30 seconds. It's weird with social media, and I don't want to have a problem. Here's a heavenly birthday for you, a real blast to the past. From October 30th, it was the celebration of the birthday of Ruth Gordon. She was born Friday, October 30th, way back in 1896 in Quincy, Massachusetts. And you know her as Ma in the Every Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can movies with Clint Eastwood and Jeffrey Lewis, who played his buddy. By the way, Jeffrey Lewis died a few years ago, and he is the dad of Juliette Lewis. And remember that orangutan? Right turn, Clyde. Right turn, Clyde. And Clyde would punch out a bad guy. But Ruth Gordon played Ma in those movies that Generation Xers, of course, remember. Generation Xers like me. Ruth Gordon began her career performing on Broadway at age 19. That was a long time ago in the early 1900s. Known for her nasal voice and distinctive personality, Ruth Gordon gained international recognition and critical acclaim for her roles that continued into her 70s and 80s as a senior citizen. Her later work included performances in Rosemary's Baby in 1968, Whatever Happened to Aunt Alice in 1969, Where's Papa in 1970, Harold and Maude in 1971, a very strange film. As I mentioned, Every Which Way But Loose in 1978, and its sequel, Any Which Way You Can in 1980. In addition to her acting career, Ruth Gordon wrote numerous plays, film scripts, and books, most notably co-writing the screenplay for the 1949 film Adam's Rib. Ruth Gordon won an Oscar, a Primetime Emmy, and 2 Golden Globe Awards for her acting, as well as 3 Academy Award nominations for her writing. But Harold and Maude, that was a bizarre, groundbreaking film. And Ruth Gordon expired on Monday, August 28th, 1985, at the age of 88. Rest in peace. So now we're up to October 31st, the Halloween babies. Oh, man, I'm going to save this for later tonight. I apologize. Just ran out of time. Had too much fun with Al. Want to thank Al Hardy for calling in with his movie corner reviews of 3 films that he saw that are in theaters now. And, of course, to James Tim Walker, an Emmy Award-winning, multi-nominated animation director and animator for various studios, including Hanna-Barbera and Walt Disney and many, many others. So I'm going to come back later. I got to get ready to watch the game, and I don't want to go longer than 4 hours. It's just too long for any normal human being to attempt to listen, even in stages. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with the Halloween babies later on tonight. Congratulations, Atlanta Braves. You did it. And I'm real proud of my home team, Atlanta Braves. They the best. Let's listen to some baseball music as we play out. And we'll be back for part 2 later in the show. God dang. Here's a goodie. Here's the Edgewood Symphony Orchestra. Bravos if they'll win. They already won 21 World Series games. Chop, 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 chop. You can't stop the chop. You can't stop the tomahawk chop. You can't. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out. See you later tonight.
Have discovered